Hello again from Finland. This is day 5 of the IAAF World Under-20 Championships. 1,500 athletes from around the globe have travelled to Tampere in the south of the country for a global celebration of track and field. And this morning, 5 gold medals will be decided on a sunny day in Northern Europe. Good morning from Tony Husband and Derval O'Rourke. We are here in Tampere, on site inside the stadium to bring you this morning session on what should be a cracking day of athletics, of what is turning out to be an extraordinary championships. This is the schedule of this morning session, which begins with the men's discus, and the defending champion from Big Gosh 2 years ago is in the field. The race walkers will take centre stage as well for much of this session. We start with a women's 10,000 metres race walk, and then we move on to the men's, and there is relay action as well as the 4x400 metre relay runners take to the track later on towards the conclusion of the session. Some big gold medals to be decided in the pole vault, also the high jump. So it promises to be a cracking session of athletics, which will almost merge into the afternoon session, which will take us through to the early evening. There will be a short intermission between the two on what is a glorious day, as you can see there. The sunny skies here in southern Finland, 21 Celsius and sunny at the moment. It's going to get warmer as we look at the lakes of the Näsijärvi and Pyhäjärvi, which really do identify Tampere here in southern Finland. We're about up to 2-hour drive or so from the capital city, Helsinki. And this stadium, which can hold just under 17,000, has seen some good crowds this week coming in to watch this under-20 championships. We are right in the centre of town, 700 metres from the main square, and a city founded in 1779. Well, let's say good morning to Derval O'Rourke, former world champion sprint hurdler, and you've been here all week watching the action. It's been a great championships, and we are moving in now to the final big weekend.
Absolutely, it has been an amazing championships all week. So many fantastic performances, lots of surprises, lots of athletes just performing to a level that they never have done before in their life, and it's really been a privilege to sit here and watch it all. And we go into another session now today. I can see the men warming up down there for the high jump. Of course, they're going to be trying to win a world under-20 title in that high jump this morning. We have the race walk getting ready down there on the track, and it's just been finals after finals out here in Tampere, and it's been just a real incredible experience to be sitting up here watching them all.
Yes, we've had some stories, some breakthrough moments, new chapters written in global athletics history for nations like Indonesia and India. Massive wins on the track. The Finns have been on the board as well. Britain will celebrate what's now to be dubbed Fantastic Friday after Super Saturday a few years ago. 3 gold medals for their team on Friday night, including in the heptathlon.
We've seen an interesting shift as well in events. Something I was excited to see was the entries in events. The women's heptathlon had a bigger entry than the women's 100 meters. The women's 400 hurdles, I believe, had a bigger entry than the men's 100 meters. And it's really interesting to see how these young athletes have just taken to multi-events, to technical events, and maybe the events that in the past would have been kind of, you know, the blue ribbon event, the 100 meters. Maybe it's not almost the crown in athletics anymore.
Why do you sense that might be evolving, as it were?
I'm unsure. I think certain athletes have done an incredible amount for this sport, and we give them a bit of credit, not enough. I think Jessica Ennis-Hill did a huge amount with her career. I think it really spoke to a lot of young girls, and I saw when I was reading up all about the young ladies who were entered in the heptathlon, pretty much every single one of them stated she was a role model for them. I think that's been quite impactful. I think she had a really big global effect. You know, the hurdles, we've had some really great athletes over the years. We've had great American athletes recently in the event. We've had Sally Pearson from Australia. I think there's just been a lot of personalities and athletes that have really maybe spoken to these young athletes in a certain way and just inspired them to get involved in the sport, and not just sort of trying to be the fastest 100-meter runner, but trying other events. And it's really interesting. I would have always said at the start of my career that there was more opportunity in the sprint hurdles in terms of depth of the event, but I'm not sure I'd say that anymore after being here this week. I think the 100-meter hurdles is just as competitive as the 100 meters, as would be the 400 hurdles is also intensely competitive.
No, it's interesting thoughts, isn't it? And of course, this is where we see the next generations coming through from these both what were termed youth and junior events, and now more uniformly known as under 18 and under 20s. Of course, the Europeans still use under 17s at times as well. There's been championships and those age groups as well. Qualifying for the men's discus gets us underway on this Saturday morning here in Tampere. World leader and defending world champion, Mohamed Ibrahim Moaz. 60 meters is what they need to ensure automatic qualification, but the top 12 across two groups will go through to the final.
60 meters, which is marked with the yellow centre line, and it's the best 12 performers across the two qualifying groups who will make the final.
The first group includes the world under 18 champion Choreo Romero of Chile. The likes of Kolesnikov have already taken part in these championships. Here's a man who could push for a medal. He's ranked second in the world, Christian Chet of Slovenia. The Iranian Rasuli, inside the world's top 10 throwers this year, 62.66 his best mark. Kanyarakis of Cyprus, right up there in the podium conversation.
Discus qualification competition on the infield scoreboards either side of the throwing sector. Each competitor will have 3 attempts in this qualifying competition.
We've seen some amazing throwing so far in this championships. Really big throwing from Jake Norris last night to take that hammer title.
That's the man who'll be first up when they get proceedings underway. Christian Cech, the Slovenian, he's had a really good year, and although Moaz arrives as the world leader, it's worth noting that the Slovenian beat him in a competition earlier this year, so he knows how to get the better of him. On the track, first final of the day will be the 10,000 meters women's race walk. Ma Li of China is the world leader, but the best ranked athlete here is Nanako Fuji of Japan. It's a big field, 34 of them.
See them running out, and then they're going straight into walking once they come through the tunnel of excited kids that have been here all week cheering on the athletes as they come out. What a great way for these race walkers to enter the stadium this morning.
It's a massive collection of national record holders, national champions, area record holders, and would-be world champions. The final of the women's 10,000 meters race walk on this Saturday morning in Tampere. Big field. Glenda Morhon of Ecuador, 2017 World Under-18 champion, among those on that list. Tekdal of Turkey, the Balkan Junior champion in 2018. And Fuji, third at the World Racewalking Team Championships in Taishan, where I was in early May, as the world's best race walkers across multiple disciplines gathered in China for a great 2 days of competition.
Two Irish athletes entered in the field. Of course, big tradition in Ireland in race walk. They'll be looking to continue that on and have a really good showing here this morning.
We'll take you through some of the rules for people who are unfamiliar with race walking and some of the technical aspects of this event as it progresses. What can happen is you'll see cautions. They'll bring you up to date on red cards. Also the power of the judges. Let's just have a look at some of the names that we'll be looking out for in this next 45 minutes or so. Bekbe's there.
So let's introduce some of the athletes for you in position 34 for Japan.
There's Nanako Fuji arriving here as the fastest in the field. In June, she walked 45 minutes and 24 seconds over this 10,000 meter course or distance. The Australians have a rich tradition of race walking, and Katy Hayward is here. She's the Australian junior champion. She's also a senior champion. Shi Yujie of China. Strong entrance. So strong that some of their athletes are not here. We have so many to choose from, as we see Kivamaki, the Finn. Here's Glenda Morhon, second at the World Racewalking Team Championships earlier this year. And De Obata. Of Puerto Rico hasn't gone inside the 46-minute mark yet this year.
On your mark!
So they're called to the line. And away they go. There are 34 in total, 25 laps of this Tampere Stadium they'll take on. The innovation in recent times in race walking has come with the addition of a pit lane. And this is a discipline within athletics which is judged purely by the naked eye. And as they go round the track and now come together with Beckmez, one of the early leaders, we'll see a group of judges whose job it is to monitor the techniques of the walkers and to ensure that they are sticking to the regulations. You can see one there in a white hat and white t-shirt watching on that bend in the early stages here. There are 5 judges in all, and they are spread out around this track. There's also, in addition to those 5, a chief judge, Germany's Rolf Müller, and it's his job to ultimately rule on the decisions of the judges who are around the track. Müller himself was at the European Under-18 Championships officiating last week. Just a few words now also on what you're looking for in technique. And a race walker must always have the legs straightened when it first makes contact with the ground until it passes the vertical upright position under the body. So effectively the straight leg is integral to a race walk. Now if an athlete is not adhering to the regulations of race walk, there are different ways in which they can be warned or penalised. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go over to the discus.
And Jacob Lewerjowski, the Polish athlete, in the discus circle. Good rotation, good effort from him first thing in the morning. These athletes will have been up bright and early to be wide awake for this. Probably 3 or 4 hours before they came here this morning. Interestingly, he's happy with that effort, 56.42 for the first round effort. 60 meters is the automatic qualifying mark. We're just seeing the ladies in the walk. It is an event where it's extremely technical. You know, those judges that you see interspersed around the track, they're just using their eyes essentially to judge the technique of this big group of athletes.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Derval. This is something that is judged purely by the naked eye. Now, if a judge doesn't feel that a walker is adhering or is in danger of breaking the rules, then they can issue cautions or cards. Let's go back, though, to the discus.
Cyprus athlete taking his first attempt. Oh, very close to that automatic qualifying mark of 60 meters. Kanirakas. You can see great speed through the arm on release and getting close to that. 58.64 for the Cypriot. Excellent start for his morning. Yeah, we're back now. We can see the race walkers again. An interesting point on that view from the judges. The IAAF have been investing heavily in technology to assist the judging. So what they're looking at, it's a simple insole to the athlete's shoes, which is linked to the watch they wear and a central system. They're hoping to introduce it in the next 2 years, which a lot of people feel is needed in this event. It would be a huge change to the event. It would be quite a lot of innovation in the event. So interesting times ahead in race walk as a global sporting event.
They've gone through 1,000 meters with Resholda Orbeta of Puerto Rico leading. She took them through in 4 minutes 25.95. There's the pit lane to the left-hand side. We'll talk about that in a moment. And the judges, again, you can see one of them here, just keeping a close eye on the front straight of the track. If they believe that a walker is in danger of breaking the rules or their technique is suspect, then they will issue a yellow paddle. Now that is purely a warning, it carries no penalty. And as they go through 1,200 meters, 22 laps to go, and the paddles have a little symbol on them. They can either be indicating that they believe that they're in danger of losing contact with the ground, or that the knee could be close to being bent. Now, if they actually see an infringement, it is a red card, and I'll tell you more about the red cards as we go back into the discus.
Alekna into the discus, looking to get close to that 60-meter automatic qualifying spot, 59-meter thrower. Good start from him. A little shake of the head. The technique probably slightly more rugged perhaps than some of the other throwers. All these young athletes are in different stages of their development, and it's always interesting to see, you know, the athletes generally that win are quite technically proficient in across all the events. Orbite has really gone out hard in this women's race walk this morning, putting her mark on the field early, not willing to hang around in the pack.
So picking up on where we are with cards, then a red card can be issued by a judge if they feel that there has been an infringement of the rules. If you accrue 3 red cards, then as we see a judge about, on the left of the picture, about to produce a yellow paddle. Well, it's just moved away from the picture for the moment, but there he is on the left. It looked like, I thought he was poised to bring his paddle out there, but he's actually just watching carefully. But if you accrue 3 red cards in a race, then you go into the pit lane, and you have to spend a minute in there. It's a time penalty, effectively. And of course, that can have a huge impact on an athlete's ability to succeed in a race. So 3 red cards are in that. If you come out and then get a 4th red card, you are disqualified outright.
Yeah, that's a very interesting change that has come in the event in recent years. The pit lane was introduced for the Youth Olympics 4 years ago to reduce the number of disqualifications. It was originally planned for the under-20 races, but it's only introduced for its first senior international competition this year at the World Team Champs in China, which of course, Tony, you were present at, so you saw a bit of history in this event when it was in the senior championships this year.
Yes, that's right, and in that championships we had walks up to 50 kilometers and the time penalties increase. And the pit lane was something that you saw used quite a lot, and it can be curtains for your chances really if you go into that pit lane. As we look at Rachel de Orbeta of Puerto Rico, her best mark actually this year, 47 minutes and 57 seconds for the race walk. That's at an indoor event. But she's gone out and got herself a good 70-meter lead or so at the moment. Among the chasing pack, both the Chinese walkers and the dangerous Ecuadorian Morjon. There is a yellow paddle, and was that possibly for Morjon or maybe Andy behind? So just a warning there as they go through 2,000 meters.
The yellow paddle is almost like the judge is saying, careful, careful,
Absolutely.
Check your technique. We need you to be careful. I'm not happy with what I'm seeing, and I need you to correct.
So a 1/5 of the way through the walk. (2,000 meters, 4:28.24 from de Orbeta to averaging 4:27 so far. The lead is 11 seconds.
See the athletes being handed water and sponges. It is really hot down there on the track today. We've kind of had some extreme weather from last night and the lashing rain for that extremely exciting women's 800-meter final in the heptathlon to this morning, and searing heat for these race walkers. You see a lot of them are wearing caps to protect themselves.
Well, you just don't realise how physically demanding this challenge is, and you will see as this race progresses what it can take out of these athletes. They are incredible performers. Many would say this is an extreme sport.
Absolutely. I would have spent a lot of years traveling with the race walkers on the Irish team. They were just incredibly fit athletes, and they just really pushed their bodies to the maximum.
Meanwhile, the women's triple jump qualification begins. Alexandra Necheva is the world leader, and she is here in Tampere this week. 13 meters 20 is the required mark for automatic qualification through to the final. We'll look at the group there. It's Group A. Take a look at some of the likely contenders. Alexandra Necheva, world number 1, the only athlete in the field and this year to have jumped 14 meters. But here's Mirelle Santos of Brazil. Anate of Romania. She's inside the world's top 10 in 2018. Second group includes Devislady Velasco of Cuba. She's third in the world this year. And these qualification groups will go on simultaneously.
It's a busy track down there this morning. You have the discus throwers in the top end, the race walkers going around, triple jumpers at the other end of the track. It's quite a lot going on.
And in the race walk, it's still the Puerto Rican leader. And one red card has been issued so far, and that is for Ima Hankundova of Slovakia. And that is for a bent knee. That's the only sanction so far. And also now red card has come through for the Peruvian Mary Luz Andia. And that is for a loss of contact. It's a loss of contact penalty. So one red card for them. So that means that they have just to make sure they keep their technique in check.
Absolutely. It's an event where you have to show an incredible amount of discipline, because of course there's that temptation. You just want to go faster and the technique then gets sloppy, but it is about being disciplined throughout the race. There are judges all over the course trying to ensure that that discipline is happening. The athletes need to be careful.
The gap is now considerably smaller. I have seen race walks at these World Championships in the past where a leader has gone out and led as early as there's a warning for the leader, Diobeta. But I have seen someone go out and take the lead after 100 meters and never give it up. But equally, you will see athletes really push it out there early on and then be totally consumed by the field in the later stages. So there is not always any right or wrong way tactically to go about this. It's about what suits the walker in question.
Well, all these walkers would be acutely aware of their capabilities. We just see the red
Morjon,
card.
a red card for the Ecuadorian Morjon. So that's interesting early on. Morjon is in 4th at the moment.
They'd be very aware of their abilities through this distance, what they can do their Ks in, what pace they're comfortable at, what pace perhaps they're not comfortable at, how they feel over the last few K. And that's their race strategy would have been decided between them and their coaches before they even started today. And that's a strategy they try to stick to a large degree, but also react to what's happening in the race.
We mentioned a red card for Morhon. She's the highest ranked athlete so far to be issued with a red card, and that was for a loss of contact. So there we are, confirmation of the red cards that have been issued so far for Ecuador, Peru, Slovakia. The leaders now in one group, and they're all the big names really that we expected to see. Beckmes, Morhon, the Australian is up there as well, Katy Hayward. She's an Australian junior champion, but she also, at the age of 17, became the youngest ever senior Australian champion when she won the national 10-kilometre championship. She's ranked 3rd in the world this year.
And Australia have a great tradition in race walking. Some really big stars have come out of there over recent years. I'll always remember the dramatic moment in Sydney 2000 when Jane Saville, one of the home heroes, got disqualified in the race walk coming into the stadium. It has all stayed with me, the devastation of it. It is really a cutthroat event in terms of the rules, and these judges are here to enforce them for the integrity of the event, but it is absolutely unforgiving.
Something similar happened in the Commonwealth Games this year as well.
Yeah, mainly what I've realized this week, sitting up here in our position in commentary, is there's a reason I'm not a judge or an official. I'd be far too soft, Tony. I wouldn't be disqualifying anybody. I'd be terrible at enforcing the rules. And I'm just far too soft.
So it is the leader, Diobeta, who went out early in front. She had an 11-second advantage at one point, and as you can see, that advantage has disappeared now. And Shi Yuqia of China leads the chasing pack. Also includes Mariam Beckmes, 5th in Taichung at the World Racewalking Team Championships. She's the European Under-20 champion, and she also took a silver medal last year in Nairobi. And a frequent winner this year as well. There, a look at the techniques. Contact all the time, straight legs. 4,000 meters complete. They did the last 1,000 in 4 minutes 36.71, so the pace has slowed a little. Big gaps now from the front of the group to the back. You can see from 1st to 14th there on our graphics, 30 seconds.
Yeah, it really is being strung out now. I'm just looking down towards the pit. Normally there is a board displaying the red cards. I wonder, is that out in front of the judges down there, just so the athletes know where they stand?
Yes, it's known as the DQ board.
It's not a board you ever want to be on, is it?
No.
I had a great chat this morning with Rolf Muller about this event, and I was asking him, about the changes in the event and how he kind of feels about those. He's the chief judge here, and he told me he had a really interesting way of explaining it to me. He was saying, for these young athletes, if you're an athlete and you're finishing up school on a Friday and you are saying to your friends, oh, what are you doing for the weekend? They're saying, oh, I'm going playing soccer, or I'm running, and you're saying, oh, I'm going to do a race walk event. And then if you come in on Monday morning to school and your friends say, oh, how did the race walk go? And you say, how did the soccer go? And you say, well, I got red carded. You're saying the perception of a red card outside of the race walk competition is so negative, when in fact, a red card essentially is you're just tried too hard. Most of these young athletes who get red carded, they've tried too hard. And he really felt that introducing the pit lane meant you essentially take out disqualifications. You're penalizing the athletes because they have to protect the integrity of the technique of the event. But actually, it's a much nicer way to do it. And I thought that was a really interesting way to explain it.
That's right, and it is a sport or a discipline where the perception of disqualification as well is very different. If you tell someone you were disqualified, then it doesn't necessarily carry the same connotations as it does as disqualification in other sports. We'll come back to the walk. Let's go into the discus cage, and qualification continues there.
Hasler, the German discus thrower, that's a good effort. Remember, it's that 60-meter mark they're trying to get for automatic qualification, or else it'll be the top 12 distances. Just see him rotate, try to get good speed through the release. Controlled aggression is a big part of the discus event.
Back in the walk, and all the big names are in this front group here, led by Rachel de Urbeta of Puerto Rico. Almost the halfway stage now. She had 11-second advantage over them at one point, but they're all back together. But the likes of Katy Hayward, Linda Morhon, Miriam Beckmes, all in there. Noela Vargas we haven't mentioned either yet, from Costa Rica, the national record holder there. She's in that group. Ji Yuchia of China with the white cap, the tall figure in the red of China. Katy Hayward, who's 45 minutes, 48 seconds, 4.5 early this year, was achieved in Sydney in March. That's the third best 10K this year. Halfway through now, 5,000 meters reached in 22:41. Katy Hayward, coached by Steve Langley. And she's had a great year, 6th overall in the Australian 10,000 meters after winning the senior title last year. She won the Adelaide Junior 10K, the Queensland 10K, and the Australian Junior 10K. So what a year for her. Discus, check. Third round. Looking for 60 meters. He's one of the world leaders this year, and that didn't look very good. Oh, it's short of qualification. That was his third attempt as well. So 56.47 is his best so far. I don't think he's improved on that. Might have been an anxious wait here.
Not a good morning for him. Just didn't put the different elements together and just wasn't going well, Christian Chad, this morning.
Now Chang, the Jamaican. 54.96 at a no mark.
Good effort by Chang, out towards the 60-meter automatic qualifying line.
Oh, that's much better. 59.27. Best of the qualifiers so far. So back with the race walkers. Tight bunch at the front. There are 10 of them in that group. So 11 laps to go. Look at the watch from the leader, the Puerto Rican. 25 minutes 30 on the clock.
As the race goes on, that technique becomes more and more important as these athletes are trying to push it out and get faster. They have to be careful not to get sloppy with the technique. They must be very disciplined on it, always thinking about maintaining contact with the ground.
And we saw a yellow paddle there. Just that's only a warning. It carries no penalty.
It's just that little careful. I'm not 100% happy with what I see from the judge, and I am keeping an eye on it, and I need you to fix your technique a little bit.
A judge can issue as many as 2 yellow cards to an individual athlete. So in theory, you could get round a race walk competition and have 10 yellow paddles issued towards you, but it would actually not carry any penalty.
Yeah, there are 5 judges spread around this track for this event. I think if that's the territory you're in, you probably are a little bit on the edge. But it is an interesting element of this event, because the event is long enough to be able to do that, to be able to give them that warning. We see in other events, for example, the men's 800 yesterday, where the favorite got disqualified because he stepped out of his lane, and it's just done over very quickly. There's no warning, there's no second chances. Whereas in race walk, such is the distance and such is the high technical level of this event, that there is more warning for these young athletes.
Bernardo, Portugal, 2 red cards now, so the only athletes so far to have been issued with 2. Morjon, Monga, Andia, Atendova are all there on 1. And we now finally have seen a decisive change, as Bekmez has taken them out and gone to the front of that group of 10, and the 10 are now spreading out. Morjon there just nudged sideways almost. Tekdal in there as well, then back to Hayward, but the early leader has dropped off the pace a little.
And we are down to the women's triple jump qualifying. Pepelnak. Pepelnak will be looking for 13:20, which is the automatic qualifier. Or else, of course, it will be the top 12 best performances if that is not reached by 12 athletes. Very good on the board. There's a tiny bit of space to work with. 13:31. Excellent morning's work from Eva Pepelnak. She can head back to her team hotel, and at this championships there is an emphasis on sustainability. So all of these athletes are coming to and from the track either by foot or biking, just to cut down on those buses and cars. And all of us are within walking or biking distance of this track. It's fantastic.
So in the race walk, Bekmez, 5th in Taichung at the World Race Walking Team Championships earlier this year. She's made a decisive move. The field very spread, but there she is, white cap, left of the picture, just consuming a group of 4 and gliding past them almost as if they're not there. Amazing to see the pace that she's now maintaining. She's really moving.
Bekmez has a super smooth technique at pace. You can see it.
Here she comes. There's the pit lane to the left. There's the whiteboard, which is known as the DQ board in many ways, because that will inform athletes as to what situation they're in. Morhon is behind and is making a move. I think she's realised, right, I can't let Bekmez move quite that much away. So Morhon, the South American junior record holder, who was second in Taizhang at the World Race Walking Team Championships this year, is now just taking a look at Bekmez and thinking, right, with 8 laps to go, I'm not going to let you get too far away. But away they are. And what was a group of 10 only a couple of laps ago, bunched together 10, now quite spread. And of course we've seen the early leader, the Ortega.
Morhon is working very hard here, trying to cover Bekmez's move. Not willing to let her go, but will she be able to close that gap?
Rachel de Orbeta of Puerto Rico was that early leader I was mentioning, and she has dropped right back. It's Bekmez who leads. And de Orbeta, on last observation, had dropped back to around 6th, and maybe further back now as Hayward tries to hang on to that group. There's O'Connor of Ireland. There's a 6-second gap between Bekmez and Hayward in 5th place at the moment. There's the places moving down, the likes of Tekdal. The early leader, de Orbeta, is in 8th. Vargas, strong competitor from Costa Rica, in the top 10 at the moment. But Bekmez, who took silver in the World Under-18s last year in the walk and has got used to winning in 2018, at the front there. 7 laps to go now in the women's 10,000 metre race walk at these World Under-20 Championships.
It really is getting into the business end of this race. All these athletes working very hard.
One athlete we haven't mentioned much is the 19-year-old Nanako Fuji, 17th in the senior national championships for Japan as well this year, and she's ranked 2nd in the world on times, and she is one of the chasers as they are spread all around this track.
Fuji is a strong athlete, will look to come through in the later laps.
Fuji's won in New South Wales, competing in Australia this year. And a couple of victories on the circuit, Wajima and Lugano. What we haven't seen a lot of is red cards, though. There are, at the moment, 2 walkers who are on 2 red cards. Bekmez hasn't had any yet. Morhon there behind her has had 1 for a loss of contact. 3 red cards, remember, and you go into the pit lane for a 1-minute penalty. 6 to go. They went through 7,000 metres. The split was 4 minutes 13.75. She's averaging under 4.5 minutes per 1,000 metres at the moment, the leader, Bekmez. I saw the world record set in Eugene 4 years ago by Agnieszka Jatova of the Czech Republic, when she walked 42 minutes 47 seconds. Extraordinary performance. Best mark in 2018 is some 2 minutes and 50, or nearly 3 minutes longer than that. Just indication of how good that performance was at Hayward Field. So Bekmez on the left of the screen, the white cap.
Bekmez has really tried to put a strong move in on this field, but hasn't created as big a gap as perhaps she would hope for. See her with that smooth technique.
2,000 meters remaining. Still Bekmez of Turkey.
So Bekmez, Norhon, Fuji is up there. Gonzalez of Mexico as well, we've not talked much about, but she's up there in the reckoning at this stage.
Gonzalez has good ability, would be looking to get involved in this, the top end of the field.
She's the Central American Junior record holder over this mark. Pan American Junior champion as well. A couple of victories in 2018. She will also take on the 20K mark on occasion. And now this group right back together. Morhan has moved right up.
And that's significant in this race. Morhan looks like she is going to make a break here. And is it Gonzalez? Gonzalez is happy for the moment to stick in there, just getting a sponge, cooling herself down. It's hot down there for these athletes.
Oh, it will be grueling for them now.
Absolutely.
Gonzalez had a fantastic, it was a great event for Mexico in Taisang. And she won the World Race Walking Team Championships 10K walk, which is a road walk in the center of the Chinese city. And that was a straight, flat surface of 2.5 kilometers per lap. And so these three now are setting us up for what could be a really good finale to this race. Fuji, the next of them, number 2 in the world this year, but well back now. And there's Hayward, Australia.
Of these three, Morhan has a red card. Just having a look down at the other red cards in the field.
Well, at this stage, looking at the way they're going, you'd have to say the pit lane may not be a factor for any of these leaders. Morhan is the only one, perhaps, at the moment with any risk. She's on 1 red card. The other 2, though, haven't had any. And in fact, very few have been issued.
Yeah, this young group of race walkers has shown great discipline across their event this morning. There's 5 judges spread out across the track. They're being watched all of the time to maintain the technical elements of this event.
15 red cards have been issued across the 34 walkers in this final at the moment. So those looking after the pit lane, relatively unemployed.
They could get themselves a cup of coffee. These ladies are disciplined and know what they're up to this morning.
Morhan now strikes for the front. Fuji trying to chase them down. Japanese have hopes in both race walks this morning of medals. The men's, remember, is still to come.
Absolutely. We'll have the men's final. We'll be deciding who is the men's under-20 champion in that race walk later on this morning. But for now, it's all about the women's race walk, and these 3 ladies are really having a tussle at the front of this event. Morhan has taken control of the race. We saw Bekmez leading through the middle part of it. Gonzalez is still in there looking very strong. She'll be confident with her form this season. It has been very good.
3 laps to go in the women's race walk. We saw them lap Lauren Harris of the United States. Fuji and Hayward among the athletes chasing 4th and 5th. But podium positions are starting to look unlikely for them unless something dramatic happens amongst these front 3. But this is race walking, and Drama can unfold when you least expect it. Morhon from Bekmez, from Gonzalez. Gonzalez looking to add a World Under-20 crown to a World Racewalking Team Championship title from Taisang earlier this year. They're at the 40-minute mark. They are digging deep, finding the energy, finding the will to keep themselves going as they go into the last 1,000 meters now with Morhon, the South American junior record holder who came second to Gonzalez in Taisang. Well, at the moment, she leads her.
What a race this is turning out to be. Morhon, Bekmez, Gonzalez, three extremely talented, fast young race walkers at the head of this event. And who will break first? All three looking really good.
A good moment, I think, with a close race to point out another rule of race walking which can really add drama. Now, that is the power of Rolf Muller, the chief judge, who can unilaterally disqualify an athlete regardless of their red cards in the last 100 meters of a track race if he believes the rules are being broken. He will have 3 judges positioned on the home straight when they come into it to monitor, and a disqualification outright can occur. It wouldn't actually happen until they finished, so you wouldn't see one athlete pulled out in the last 100 meters, but what you could see is a change to the result afterwards if the judges and then the chief judges made that unilateral decision to go for the full disqualification. Gonzalez now goes for the front. Morhon is overtaken as well by Bekmez. So it's the Mexican, Gonzalez, who goes to the front past the Turk. All 3 of these were in the same race in Taisang. Bekmez came 5th in that one, the European Under-20 champion.
Gonzalez making her move. What can she do here? Bekmez is responding. Morhon is working really hard to stay in this. Bekmez looks Gonzalez looks comfortable too.
Yes, contrast, Gonzalez, the thinner, taller athlete. Morhon, the shorter, along with Bekmez. Bekmez's white cap stalking the Mexican vest of Gonzalez, but she knows what it's like to win a World Championship event this year. And they're coming down to the bell, and the last lap in the 10,000 meters race walk women's final. And it rings loudly, and it tells them they've got 1 lap to go. And Morhon is struggling to stay with them. It's a front 2 now. It's between Bekmez and Gonzalez. I don't think Morhon is going to be able to get back at them. Further back, the likes of Fuji, Hayward, Yuchia of China. There they are. Fuji 4th, Hayward 5th. Gonzalez braking now and moving away. And the question is, can Bekmez go with her?
It looks like Bekmez has no response to that break. Oh, and Morhan's coming back into it. Morhan has Bekmez in her sight.
Morhon making a charge for the line potentially. She's past Bekmez and into the silver medal position. We've got a couple of 100 meters to go now in this women's 10,000 meter race walk. But Gonzalez is moving away. Morhon is going to have to move really quickly if she can get anywhere near, but I don't think Gonzalez is going to give this one up now. She's coming around towards the home straight. She hasn't even had 1 red card in this race. She comes into the last 100 meters in front of the main tribune. They're cheering her on. Morhon in second. Bekmez has come back. Bekmez now building up to come back and stake a claim for silver, but there's no doubt who gold's going to be. She won at the World Race Walking Team Championships in Taisang, and she's going to win again here. She's the World Under-20 champion. Gonzalez of Mexico. Bekmez will get second. Morhon gets the bronze. 44 minutes, 13.89 seconds. It's a double year of celebration for Alenia Gonzalez. And Mexico celebrate gold in Tampere, ahead of the Turk, Bekmez. And Morjon of Ecuador is third. And the battle is on between Fuji now and Hayward as they hit the home straight to see who can get the fourth place position. And it looks like it will be Fuji, the highest ranked competitor here this week, who is going to hang on and take fourth, while Hayward, the Australian junior champion, will come in fifth.
Fuji came into this as a perhaps favorite, but just couldn't live with the pace of Gonzalez, Bekmez, and what a performance from young Gonzalez. Her technique was impeccable throughout it. Great strength shown, good speed over the last lap. Absolutely excellent performance by the young Mexican.
And you watch the rest of the walkers are coming in, and they will be for the next few minutes or so. Tekdal here is the next of them, the Balkan junior champion from Turkey, crossing the line. And you can see what it takes out. And this is really pushing their bodies to the limits. And many of them, when they cross that finishing line, they have nothing more, not a step more to give. But Gonzalez, the joy of victory, the smile of the Mexican. She's done it again.
And what a feeling that must be for Gonzalez. Bekmez really gave her a tough race. Morjon, it was tight the whole way between Morjon and Bekmez in that last lap. We didn't know who was going to get the silver, who was going to get the bronze. Just great performance by these three young race walkers.
The Orbeta, by the way, of Puerto Rico, who was the early leader and had an 11-second advantage at one point, finished 49 seconds behind the winner in 7th position. So a good effort from the Puerto Rican, but ultimately unable to hang on to her advantage. Also quite marked here in this race walk, we have had no disqualifications at all. No athlete even went into the pit lane.
Incredible. Incredible performance by all these walkers. Yeah, the pit lane is looking very unused down there. It will be interesting to see now how the men's unfolds, and will it perhaps come into play in that event? So, women are always quite disciplined though, you know. We'll see how the guys are.
Torres, the latest to come in. The bell's still ringing for many of them.
See Gonzalez chatting through her race, and what a happy smile that is from Mexican athlete extremely proud of her efforts this morning, and so she should be.
Yeah, there's Bekmez proudly supporting her national colours.
Morjon and Bekmez, of course, they'd know each other well, having competed against each other before.
That's right. And Gonzalez certainly emerging when this group come together as the star of 2018 in the IAAF World Series events. And there's the moment she crossed the line. That is your gold medalist.
You just see the exhaustion from some of these athletes afterwards. It is such a grueling event. The most grueling event on the track and field program, in my opinion. Of course, in Ireland, we're incredibly proud of our race walking tradition. Robert Heffernan having medalled in every major championship for Ireland in recent years. Look at the Finnish athlete there, just absolutely exhausted from her effort in front of her home crowd. Look what that means to her to just finish.
Take a look how the discus qualification unfolded. This are the Group A results. Chang of Jamaica, 59.27. No athlete has achieved the automatic qualifying spot or mark. They needed to get 60 meters to guarantee a place in the final. So the top group of these discus throwers in Group A will now wait and see how the second group get on, and they will be starting in the next 25 minutes here. Triple jump qualification's been continuing as well. Last money. Oh, and that's out beyond 13 meters. They're looking to get 13.20, and I think she will have achieved that there. So the Dane looks to have got beyond 13.20 to secure a place in the final. There we are, 13.48. It's a national record, a personal best for her as well. Super effort from Lasmane, who came into this. The Latvian 13 meters 17 was her previous best. Nacheva, Bulgaria, second attempt there. And she too looks to have booked her place in the final. That's 13.68, so the best of that group. Santos now, Brazil, 13.13 in the first round. Evenly paced run up, good technique, good hang at the end there, and a long triple jump. Oh, that's a see you in the final moment for Mirelle Santos of Brazil. Very consistent. Decent takeoff position. We know she can give herself a few more centimeters there, but in the context of a qualification jump, 13.60, a personal best, and she's into the final.
Some great efforts by the triple jumpers this morning to get that automatic qualifying mark. Long week for them waiting to come out here and compete, seeing all their teammates come out and compete. I always think it's tougher to be at the other end of the week rather than the start of it.
The Turk, Yilmaz. No mark in the first round. (13.43) is It's her best. She's inside the world's top 10 this year, so she arrives here in Tampere firmly with the aim of being in the final.
The race will be completed by Kazakhstan's Katy.
Here she goes. Second attempt. It's a little short and she looks a little frustrated with that. She knows she can do better. Coming in a little short on the board, giving up some vital distance there. 12.90, so she knows she's got another attempt where she will need to go a bit better. And they'll go now into the final attempt. Nepelnak's already secured her place with 13.31 in this Group B. Next up, Diana Adashko, an authorized neutral athlete. She's jumped 13.45 this year indoors. Her best is 13.42 on the outdoor circuit. (19 years of age). Adashko. Third round gets underway. Beyond 13 meters. Remember, 13.20 is what they're looking for, though.
Still, there's 5 Untitled qualifiers in the triple jump.
.13.07 for Adashko, so 13.14 remains her best mark. Well, may well be enough to get her into the final, depends on the performances of the rest of the group. Lexi Ellis now of the United States of America. The US with a clutch of silver and bronze medals this week in a championships in which they're always successful, but the surprise really is that they don't have a gold to their name yet. Ellis out there, but 12.72 is her best mark so far, and you can just see as she hangs, and then the drop back there into the pit at the end. Room on the board as well. So Lexi may well bow out at this stage. Yeah, 12.49. So she carries 12.72 through. But she's down in 8th position in this qualification group alone, so her championships looks over. Brown now of Jamaica, also an athlete who needs to find a big jump. 9th at the moment, 12.62 in the first round. Stayed on her feet all the way through into the pit. Watch her go through the different phases of the jump. Clean on the board, be a white flag, but hasn't really managed to elevate at the end and really surge and get high with a good hang driving that body as far as possible into the last phase through into the pit. And that looks sub 13, yes, it's 12.72. So 17th place overall. She won't be going into the final. Big final coming up now on the infield. It's the men's high jump. It features the world leader this year, Vilches of Mexico. South Africa's Brayton Poole leads off the list of 13 entrants in this final. Redzic, Bosnia-Herzegovina. Naoki Higashi of Japan, inside the world top 10 this year. Yasmin Halili of Serbia. The world leader, the favorite for the world title, Roberto Vilches of Mexico. France represented by Nathan Ismar. Kyohei Tomori of Japan. The Ukrainian Dmytro Nikitin. If he has a good day, he'll be right up there. Filip Mercic of Croatia. Luka Manka, Germany. The Greek, Antonios Merlos. Third in the world this year. Can the States win their first gold through Javon Blake? And Thomas Carmoy of Belgium. Those are the finalists. It's the men's high jump. There are the finalists for the men's high jump, including the world leader in 2018, Roberto Vilches. Look out for Javon Blake of the United States as they chase their first gold of the championships. Two years ago, the Cuban Zayas jumped 2:27 to gold. Back to the triple jump. Velasco, 13:04 for the Cuban so far. And that's a bit better. But will it be good enough? Well short on the board there, so look at this, the distance she's giving up, but it was still looked pretty good. And 13:29. So that's a place in the final. Here's the Finn, Koistinen. Can she join her? Crowd really getting behind her. A little bit short though on that last phase. You could see as she went to the final jump. After that step there, there's just no spring in that final step to get into the hang. And 12:15 for the Finn. She exits the competition. Time for a medal ceremony. And we've seen the race walkers, and it's Mexico's moment in Tampere.
Presenting the medals, Hilka Rihivori, honorary member Tampereen Purinta.
Palkinnot tulee jakamaan Tampereen Pyrinnön kunniajäsen Hilkka Riihivuori. turvanuoret.
Bronze medalist representing Ecuador.
Maailmanmestaruus pronssi. Ecuadorin Glenda Moreira.
There she is, Johan of Ecuador, bronze medalist, involved in a real tussle down the home straight. She comes away with a podium finish. National record mark as well.
Silver medalist representing Turkey.
Maailmanmestaruus hopea. Turkin Meryem Bekmez.
Meryem Bekmez, the European under-20 champion, a world under-18 silver medalist, and now second at the World Under-20 Championships.
Gold medalist and World Under-20 champion representing Mexico.
Maailmanmestari Meksikon Alenia Gonzalez.
Her second global IAAF title of 2018. Alenia Gonzalez is the World Under-20 champion in Tampere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Mexico.
Hyvät naiset ja herrat, Meksikon kansallislaulu.
Ladies and gentlemen, your World Under-20 Championship medalists.
Ja kerran vielä kävelijät yhdessä.
World lead, world champion. Gonzalez does it again.
Next on track is the men's 10,000 meters racewalk final.
Next track final is the men's 10,000 meters race walk. Japanese targeting gold. Here come the 34 who will take on this race walk. 25 laps of the Tampere Stadium. They feature the world leader, Sho Sakazaki of Japan. Huge group of national champions, many in the world's top 10. Here's the full list in the men's 10,000 meter race walk final. Nagayama of Japan, second in the world this year. Kaliada, the dangerous Belarusian, at the bottom of the list. .34 in all will be on the start line. We saw the pit lane totally unused in the women's race. Three reds and you go in there, remember? No athlete in the women's race got beyond 2 reds. The 5 judges watching on though. David Hurtado of Ecuador, he was disqualified in the final in Bydgoszcz 2 years ago. The 19-year-old is the South American junior champion. He finished 5th at the World Race Walking Team Championships in this race in Taisang. Sho Sakazaki of Japan, he's world leader this year. The Frenchman, David Costa, national champion, 7th in Taisang this year, on the road. Declan Tingay, started walking at 9 months old, still hasn't stopped. That's his reason for pursuing a career in race walking. Tatsuhiko Nagayama is 2nd in the world in 2018. Zhang Yao of China was the winner at the World Race Walking Team Championships in Taisang in a personal best. And was the world leader on the road this year. And I mentioned him earlier, Kaliada, the Belarusian, 8th in Taisang. He's won in Minsk and Gomel already in 2018.
On your marks!
Off they go then. 25 laps to tackle. 17 in each group on either side of the track at the moment. They will come together down that back straight as the cones merge them together. There are 5 judges watching on very carefully, and they are led by Rolf Muller, the chief judge, who carries the ultimate power to disqualify an athlete in the climax of a race. Question for this one is going to be, Derval, whether we see the pit lane employed. Will we see more red cards? And the women, I thought, were excellent this morning. They're obviously technically superb, as they didn't attract too much attention from the judges at all.
Now, the women showed a really high level of technical discipline and maturity in their race walking this morning. We didn't see any athlete in the pit lane, and as we were saying, you need 3 red cards to end up in the pit lane. It will start to come into view now as they come around the straight. It's just to the left of the screen, but there we go with the yellow cones. The judges there had a very quiet morning with the ladies, as they were so good on their technique, which is fantastic to see, because all these athletes are young, they're teenage athletes, they're finding their feet in this sport, and to have a whole field of ladies with very little issues was just absolutely fantastic to see. The judges did a great job, and the athletes were superb. Just to explain what exactly...
Yeah, we'll come back to the early stages of that race in a moment. Let's just briefly break off and introduce the discus second group.
So this is the second group. The qualifications now in line. The yellow one is at 60 metres. Best 12 performances at least across the two groups.
Group B features the reigning world champion at under 20 level.
Start this on screen. The world leader is the gentleman at the bottom of that list, Mohamed Myers of Qatar. 66
Zawadzki of Belarus.
this year. He's also the defending champion.
Fourth in the world this year. Here's the man they might have to beat, Mohamed Ibrahim Moaz of Qatar, the winner in Bydgoszcz, the defending champion, 66.47. He's on top of the world this year as well.
The Qatari athlete is a superstar in Qatar, training out of Aspire Academy. And now you see the race walkers coming around again and just really getting into the flow of this race. There's two simple rules all these judges are looking at. The athletes must maintain, and there you see one of the judges just writing her notes. She'll be keeping a really close eye on all of these athletes. Two more judges, and I believe that's Rolf Muller, who's just gone out of screen, who is the chief judge here. So these athletes must maintain contact with the ground at all times, and that's according to the judge's human eye. So it's what the judge can see, that they're maintaining contact with the ground at all times. Just imagine how hard that is. If you've ever tried to walk fast, I can tell you it is incredibly difficult. The second technical aspect that they have to do is their knee must be straight from the moment of first contact with the ground until it passes under the body. So that's how you see that movement through their stride. And the judges, we see another one there on the left, are looking for that. They're looking for those two. You see the judges at the board. So that board that we just saw is where it shows the red flags. And as we said, if you get 3 red flags, you're into the pit. So all these athletes would be acutely aware of their technique the whole time. And we see that a judge there is giving a yellow paddle. So a yellow paddle is a warning from the judge. So she's spotted the walker, hasn't been happy with an element of technique, and it's almost a careful kind of paddle. That's how I see the yellow paddle. It's always careful now, rein in your technique a little bit, check yourself somewhat. But yellow paddles essentially are just a warning for these athletes. They don't hold the same weight as a red. So you can get 2 yellow paddles from a judge. Remember, there's 5 judges around this track. Just the sponges are coming out. It is extremely warm down on this track this morning. These athletes are competing under searing heat, tough conditions. But I would say this is the most brutally tough event in the track and field program.
They went through the first 1,000 meters in 4 minutes and 3.3 seconds, led by a Japanese 1-2 at the moment in this 10,000 meters race walk final. Sho Sakazaki from Tatsuhiko Nagayama. And that reflects the world rankings this year, the world lead times. Those two, 1 and 2 together. Ndigiti of Kenya has moved up as well there now. See the Ecuadorian Hurtado on the left of the picture. I mentioned he was disqualified in Bydgoszcz a couple of years ago, so a chance for him to complete the race here and to force his way into the reckoning. Could well be up there. Just like the women, many of these athletes were in Taishan when the race walking world was focused on the race walking team championships in China earlier this year.
And Tony, you were there at the event. We're back now. We'll come back to Tony's experience of that. Back to the men's discus qualifying, Group B. Tim Adder from Germany, take to the circle. He's looking to get out towards the automatic qualifying mark of 60 meters. Not a bad effort by Adder, a little bit of frustration maybe showing through.
On the scoreboard now, the first major qualifiers in the women's triple jump final. There were 6 who used next to their names to achieve the automatic distance. Experts qualifiers came to the place and so
Results of the women's 10,000 meter race walk, a world lead mark, a world champion again for the second time in 2018. Elena Gonzalez of Mexico ahead of Miriam Beckmes and Glenda Mohan of Ecuador. Record marks, personal bests all the way through that field. Fuji of Japan in 4th, Katy Hayward of Australia 5th. National record for Orla O'Connor of Ireland down in 14th position.
Fantastic to see that. I'm really excited up here in the commentary box. Ireland are so proud of our race walkers, so well done, Orla O'Connor.
Just one athlete didn't finish, Lauren Harris of the United States. Still a big group, no one's made an early break, which you can see occur. Sagasaki, Ndigiti, Mahmoud up there. You can see they are very, very keen to get the refreshments because, Derval, as you mentioned, you've had an opportunity to pop back out into the sunshine outside the stadium in the last few minutes, and it's pretty warm out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is searing heat down there today, and this stadium is built down into the ground, so it's a real heat trap for the athletes to compete in. Brayton Poole. He is a really interesting athlete, the South African. He is not a very tall athlete, and he's competing in an event that is predominantly full of extremely tall men, but he has won a global title. I believe he's the shortest athlete to have won a global title at the high jump. Incredible plyometric strength on takeoff. He'll be really exciting to watch through this men's high jump final.
Qualification summary after the women's triple jump. 13.68 for Necheba of Bulgaria led the way. National record mark for Lasmane of Latvia, 13.48. Automatic qualification down to Anate of Romania. The other qualifiers now make it through by virtue of being in the top 12. Adasco, Moore, Jossa, all the way down to Yilmaz, and 12.99 got the Turk through.
I'm just looking through now to see, do we have any red cards? We just have one from Sarosi, the Hungarian athlete, but outside of that it looks to be quite clear so far in this men's race walk final. These athletes being very diligent on their technique. They're acutely aware that there are judges all around this course watching that technique and making sure that they are all on point with it. Just see the yellow paddle being shown, just wanting the athlete to be careful and just consider his technique, the Kenyan athlete, Ngiti.
There's the disqualification board over on the left-hand side, and so that is updated, and it's an opportunity for the walkers to see if they have been issued with a red card. See a yellow paddle warning there. The paddle, there are two different yellows. One will have an icon on it which will indicate it's a loss of contact, and one will have one with a distinct showing that it's saying they're at warning of a bent knee. 5 judges, remember, and a chief judge all the way around this circuit.
And we had started to chat a little bit about maybe going straight back to the men's high jump, and it's all happening down here. So this is a final, this men's high jump this morning. World title up for grabs. Vilches, we have the top 12 competitors from the qualifying groups. And there is a lot of talent in this high jump.
Well, leader in the high jump, Roberto Vilches of Mexico, 2:12 first time round. That's jump 2:26 this year.
Here we go then with Vilches, and a great clearance by the world leader in 2018.
Vilches is an extraordinary talent.
The bar at 2:12.
He looks on form today to try to claim this title.
17 laps to go in the race walk. And it's the Kenyan Indigiti who leads. Carl Swan of Australia is up there with him. Swan is the Australian youth champion from back in 2015, over 10 kilometres. He's coached by his father. Sorry, I should say he's coached by Brent Valance. The other Australian I was just going to mention in the field, Declan Tingay, is coached by his father, Stephen, and is the Adelaide junior champion and has been chasing the long-standing Australian junior record set by Dane Bird-Smith. Swan there, issued with a warning by one of those judges. Ortiz up there as well. Custer of France. The 2 Chinese walkers are in that front group as well.
Zhang is the world #18 champion. So inside the 2 Chinese best, one without the cap.
Still, these walkers adhering to the rules very closely. Only 3 red cards have been issued by the judges who watch on so carefully. Field just breaking a little bit now, and it's a little stretch from the Kenyan. And reaching out for the sponge in Digiti. It's got warmer for them. There's another judge there who will have just stepped in and indicated to the walker in question that they're being watched carefully. Kenyans weren't at the World Racewalking Team Championship, so I didn't get the chance to see Digiti in action. There's the list of red cards so far, 4 of them in total through this field of 34 walkers.
How was that experience at that World Racewalking
Really
Championship?
fascinating, actually, to see walks from, well, I say as short as 10 kilometres. This was, of course, on road, and right up to 50 kilometres, which was an extraordinary test of strength and endurance, and rarely have I been up close. Ooh, as a paddle is dropped there, so there was a warning paddle about to be issued to one of the walkers, but the judge dropped it, so she'll have to maybe wait for him to come round again. But 4,000 metres now, but it is remarkable to be up close and to just see what a test of human strength and character it is for them. It was pretty warm in Taisang back in May, and the race walking took place early in the morning generally, the longer races. Of course, you're looking at 50-kilometer race walks, you're talking in excess of 4 hours of competition. Saw the pit lane as well. My impressions of the pit lane very much were, though, that if you went into the pit lane, particularly in a 50-kilometer race, you had to spend, I think it was 5 minutes in there. So it's game over for you, really, if you go into the pit lane.
It really is a test of mental fortitude and resilience being a race walker. Look, there you go.
Yep, and you see the paddle that was indicated there, and that was for loss of contact. A warning of loss of contact. You're in risk of incurring a red card. The two Chinese athletes are there together now, side by side, behind the leader from Kenya. And there is the scoreboard, the disqualification board, if you like, and that tells them by numbers, as there we are, loss of contact warning for Menjaveri. "14 laps to go as the Kenyan leads them through. Ndagiti is not among the leaders in the world's best marks this year. Let's go to the high jump final.
Javon Blake, the American high jumper, LSU collegiate athlete. Huge prospects here in this competition. Oh, nice. Just stays on. Seeing a little hand signal to the bar, maybe doing a bit of a deal with it. It's funny, the little conversations you have in your head as an athlete, start telling the bar to be nice to you, you'll be nice to it, that type of thing. It makes not a whole heap of sense, but you do get quite superstitious at times as an athlete. You just see his LSU coach there in the background, who would have come off a good collegiate this season to be here competing.
Yeah, the college season, the end for track and field. They'll be warming up soon. They'll be not far away from the college football season. Incredible how these university campuses in the United States come to a stop for sport, as another red card goes up there on the board. And that one has been shown to athlete entrant number 228. And that is Menjivar. And in fact, we saw him warned earlier on. So a few more red cards appearing in this race than we saw in the women's, but still no one at the moment in any imminent danger of going into the pit lane. So the two Australians, one behind the other in that leading group. So it's Kenya from the two Chinese walkers. Two Australians are up there as well. The Ecuadorian Hurtado, South American junior champion. An array of sunglasses, hats. Ndagiti has shunned either. So some 8 seconds separate the top 12. Kyle Swan just finds a little bit of room out on the outside on this home straight. Oh, and now as there, it looks like always a third red card. So we are going to see a pit lane for the first time this morning.
Okay.
That's Menjivar who's going to go in.
Big blow to his competition, ending up in that pit lane. Really would have wanted to avoid that sanction, but technique obviously got a little bit sloppy. Judges weren't happy. 3 red cards. You know, you have to say they know when they get red cards, so it shouldn't be a surprise to them when they're on 2. They need to be much more careful before the 3rd.
So the athlete from El Salvador is going to have to spend an enforced 1-minute time penalty in the pit lane. And that will knock him right back down, of course. Split times. The last 1,000 in 4 minutes, 8 seconds. And that is the average. Ngiditi is taking them through in an average of 4:08.67 per 1,000 meters. And Menjivar, in fact, has actually been disqualified. So he's received 4. Our computer systems have now been updated. So Menjivar of El Salvador is out.
Okay.
4 reds.
Disappointing for the El Salvador.
Back to the front. 2 Australians looking set to defend Katy Hayward, national champion.
Still the Kenyan leads from the Australian. It's Ngiditi. Down that back straight. Leading from Tingay. Hurtado up in 3rd. These 3 now. Trying to move away from a group behind. Oh, Ngiditi, what's happened here? Oh, I think he's got a problem with his shoe. Oh, and he's had to break away, and now he's surrendered his advantage and dropped right back. And of course, now he's going to have to try and plough his way. But look at the pace he's going to get back into that group. And he's gone right back to the front again.
Let's look at it. Oh, look, we just see a little replay here. I think it was the heel of his shoe. You can see that the heel of his shoe had just gone right under his foot, and of course that'd be very uncomfortable. You couldn't keep going like that. With 10 laps to go, there's no way. And he made the right decision, just stop for a second and then get back into it.
How much has he taken out of himself, though, to have to move, to really accelerate to get himself back into that group? Interesting tactically whether that will turn out to be the right move or whether he should have just got himself going again. Details of the disqualification. Menjivar, 4 red cards, he's out. A group of other athletes, 6 of them on 1 red card at the moment.
Lots of drama unfolding in this men's race walk. Had a disqualification, there's lots of red cards.
And now it's the 2 Chinese, as we see the disqualified walker from El Salvador. 4 red cards for him, he's taken away. And Ngiditi is now dropping off as the pace increases, and it's the 2 Chinese walkers. Wang Zhao. His fellow countryman Zhang Yao, the winner in Taisang. Up there amongst those front walkers. Ortiz is making a move. Hurtado is up there as well. Ngiditi is now struggling. The Australian Tingay is still up there, but Swan, you can see with 9 laps to go, is back among the chasers. And Ngiditi, who had that unfortunate incident with his walking spikes, the heel, and then he showed a great fortitude to come back, but maybe that took too much out of him. Zhang Yao.
Yeah, the shoes that they wear are quite lightweight, race walking shoes. They put in a huge amount of mileage, all these athletes, and you can see how hard he's working to just get back into it, but that really does seem to have taken it out of him.
None of the front walkers have incurred a red card yet, and it's Hurtado of Ecuador who is the leader. First in the South American Junior 10K this year, Pan American Junior Champion 2017. Came 17th in Cali over 10,000 meters in 2015 at the Estadio Pascual Guerrero in Colombia. For Hurtado, this is a little bit about recovering from a disqualification in Bydgoszcz, but we talked earlier about how disqualification in race walking, the connotation of it is so different from so many other sports.
Absolutely. I was speaking to Rolf Muller, the chief judge here, and he was explaining to me that for a young athlete and for a senior athlete as well, getting disqualified in this event is you're mainly being penalized because you've tried too hard and your technique has broken down, whereas if you're disqualified, if you're getting a red card in a soccer match, for example, it's for a much different reason, and they're trying to really be innovative with this event, and part of that innovation is this pit stop area where athletes go into rather than automatically getting disqualified, because it's just the negative connotations. They want to get rid of that out of the event, and especially for young athletes. Within the race walking community, everybody understands getting disqualified can be part and parcel of it, but often outside of that community, people don't have the same understanding of it, and it's just another way that they are trying to, you know, advance this event and make it a bit more perhaps marketable and appealing for people, because it has such, you know, a cult following essentially for the people who do it. You know, they're very, very passionate about it. It's an incredibly tough event.
Should just point out the pace has really gone up now. Hurtado, the last 1,000 meters, 3:52.19, and the Chinese Zhang Yao and the Guatemalan Ortiz went through 3:51, and the winning time in Bydgoszcz a couple of years ago, Great Britain's Callum Wilkinson with a historic goal for that country, their first in race walking for 50 years on the global stage. 40 minutes 41 was his winning time. The average at the moment, 4:06.15 per 1,000 meters. So they're bang around that kind of 40-minute mark. World lead mark this year, Sho Sakazaki of Japan, but as you will have noticed, we haven't talked about him much because he's down in 11th position at the moment, some 37 seconds behind this leading group. Hurtado leads. Zhang Yao walked to victory in his home country in the World Race Walking Team Championships. He's second. And Jose Ortiz is third. Let's head across to the high jump. World Under-18 champion Brayton Poole.
Brayton Poole is a really special athlete. He's looking to add the World Under-20 title to his Under-18 crown. Oh, and he's over. What a plyometric athlete this is. If you ever want to show someone about spring and ability to use your power through the ground and get up, this is the guy for you. He is incredible to watch. Poole stands at 1.73 m, about 5'7", which is pretty much my height, and I can tell you, I have such respect for this guy.
Back in the race walk. It's a front three now, pulling away from the rest. A warning there for Zhang Yao. Just a warning though, remember the yellow card doesn't carry any penalty for you in a race. See a yellow paddle there issued for loss of contact. There are two types of yellow paddle. Loss of contact or a bent knee, that you're in danger of doing that, and it's just a warning from a judge to say you're close to being in breach of the rules. Hurtado puffs out the cheeks, and the front two now breaking away from Ortiz. The Guatemalan just outside the world top 10 this year at 8,000 meters, struggling to keep pace now. You David Hurtado, the 19-year-old, and with Zhang Yao, the World Racewalking Team Championships winner over 10K on the road in Taisang. Walked a personal best that day to earn the big victory. The sponge drops down on the surface. And it's Ecuador from China in this racewalking final. And we're moving into the final chapter of it. These men have had the warmer conditions, moving towards 11:30 local time. We're 3 hours ahead of GMT. Still, Hurtado and Yao, neither of them has incurred any red cards. But it's shaping up to be quite a battle, but a battle that is a head-to-head really now. As you can see, there's a big gap to Ortiz, and then the other Chinese athlete, and Declan Tingay of Australia. Tingay finished 14th in Taisang. They're back in 4th and 5th at the moment, some 15 seconds behind this front pair, but Hurtado cannot shake Zhang Yao. Over to the high jump final.
Vilches in the high jump final. Vilches has been unbeaten in 2018. Can he continue this unbeaten streak in Tampere in the men's final of the high jump? Oh, yes. It is looking very good for Vilches.
Now, news from the race walk is that Hurtado has received a red card, and that is for a loss of contact. And now Zhang, with 3 laps to go, has made his move on him. Just 1,200 meters left of this men's 10,000 meters race walk final, and is the World Racewalking Team Champion over 10K, making his move here to make it a double celebration. We've already seen a Mexican, Gonzalez, follow-up victory in Taisang with victory in Tampere. And now Zhang Yao is looking to mount a charge away from Hurtado. Has he gone too early, though?
This is a decisive move by Zhang. Looks comfortable, slight look around.
3:57 for the last 1,000, as you can see there. And it was 0.23 of a second advantage by Hurtado, but that has changed, of course, now, because it is actually the Chinese athlete Zhang Yao who is the leader. And when they come down this home straight, they know that they will have just 2 laps to go. The world lead mark this year, 40 minutes, 17.82 seconds. 4th place Tingay, some 18 seconds back. And can Hurtado close on Zhang Yao, or is the Chinese athlete away with 800 meters to go? It's going to be around that 40-minute mark, you suspect. Championship record is 39 minutes 27. And that was set on a day of records in Eugene 4 years ago. And what a comeback this is here. Hurtado has forced his way back into the reckoning. We thought Zhang Yao had made what looked like a potentially decisive break, and Hurtado's come back.
Hurtado is not ready to give this up easily. Found a reserve to fight off the effort of Zhang, and Zhang trying to go again. It's just a battle of wills out there between these two athletes. Who has more left in reserve in this latter stage of the race?
Let's just remember as well, one of the rules in race walking is that the chief judge, Rolf Muller, has the power to disqualify an athlete outright for a breach of the rules. And there's a yellow paddle there for the Chinese athlete Zhang Yao. They come up to the bell, and in the last 100 meters in a track race, there can be an outright disqualification regardless of how many cards you might already have. And Zhang Yao's made a move on the bell. He's trying to break Hurtado again. And Yao moves away. Can Hurtado respond? He has done so once. Yao ignoring the fact perhaps in some ways that he got the yellow paddle. He didn't let that put him off at all. He's made a break, and Hurtado now has got to try and challenge him.
Hurtado doesn't look like he can respond to Yang's break. He's just clearing that distance, going slightly further, but Hurtado now is coming back slightly. Can he catch Zhang at this stage?
There'll be 3 judges on the home straight to watch very, very carefully, because Hurtado is just trying to nudge back here. Hurtado chasing Zhang Yao to a really close finish to this men's 10,000 meters race walk final here in Tampere. Zhang Yao, he's already won a world event this year in Taishan, and now he's closing in on a World Under-20 title. He comes into the home straight. Hurtado has not got enough to give, you wouldn't have thought, unless he can find something. The judges are watching carefully. Zhang Yao, the winner in Taishan, in a world best mark at the time for him, in the personal best. Hurtado's making a late charge. Hurtado to the line. Well, that's incredible. There's a photo finish on the line almost, but Zhang Yao, I think, has just about got it. Hurtado came from nowhere with a burst of speed, which may require some investigation. Possibly the judges will have watched that very, very carefully and will report back to the chief judge. It's Ortiz of Guatemala who got the bronze, but Zhang Yao, well, he was celebrating his victory. His arms were in the air as he went across the line. And then Hurtado came with a massive burst, which appeared to be in vain. But we will just wait to get confirmation. There comes Indagiti.
Indagiti, all sorts of problems during that, an issue with his shoe, and just looked to be hurting at various points in that, but finishing it out strong. Good to see that from the young Kenyan athlete.
Well, we don't have a confirmed result yet. No doubt that will be because of the style of the finish. It was effectively a photo finish between them, but did Hurtado lose contact? Did he bend the knee with the final dramatic acceleration, which happened in literally the last 20 meters?
What a burst of speed from Hurtado to finish out that last, honestly, the last probably 15 meters. I mean, probably quicker than we've seen some 400 meters out here. Incredible at the end of that. But, you know, the judges will have a close look at that. But what an exciting finish for us.
Well, the Chinese flags are out. We are still waiting, I must tell you, for confirmation of the result, because it did go down to the line. But as we pointed out, was Hurtado able to maintain contact at all times? The burst was such. Ortiz guaranteed third. Declan Tingay finished fourth for Australia. And of course, you can't discount the possibility that Hurtado could be disqualified, because in the last 100 meters, you can be outright disqualified. And that is something that Rolf Muller will look at, the chief judge. We are still waiting for the result of this 10,000 meters. Let's watch the latter stages. It ebbed and flowed. Yao has been credited with victory. Yao has got it. Watch the end here. Yao making his way towards the line. He, at this point, sees glory. Hurtado comes storming along, but Zhang Yao got there, and Hurtado is given second. They have been given the same time after 10,000 meters.
Can you believe the drama of that? 10,000 meters, and they still cannot be separated on times.
40:32:06. Hurtado given second, and Ortiz got third. But Zhang Yao, well, he can celebrate. He is a double world champion in 2018, in a personal best mark as well. But I don't think he will have quite realised how close it was.
I was just about to say, Zhang Yao, I don't believe the young man has any idea that that went to a photo finish. I wonder, has any of his races in the past ever gone to a photo finish? 10,000 meters of race walk, only to be split by thousandths of a second on the line. What an incredible finish of the men's race walk.
Astonishing. After 10,000 meters, well, after 9,999, we thought we had a clear winner.
Oh my God, the drama of it. Look, David Hurtado, who made it exciting for us in that final 100 meters. He seems very confident with his position. Doesn't think the judges have anything to be looking at. Maybe he knows a bit better than us. But what an exciting race.
Here it is again. Look at this. It's unbelievable finish. Hurtado found a burst out of somewhere and managed, as far as we're aware at the moment, not.
You could not write this. Such is the excitement and drama on the track here today.
So the result which we have at the moment is that Zhang Yao has won it in the same time as David Hurtado, but has been given the victory. Jose Ortiz of Guatemala third. And we go to the discus.
Back to the men's qualification in the discus. Wang from China just goes through his rotations, and he's over the automatic qualifying distance. Good effort by him. I wonder if there's a little bit of inspiration from seeing his countrymen just take home gold in the men's race walk. Great speed on the release. PB from young Wang Yuhan. Bahutsky from Belarus, lying in 4th currently of this qualification group. Oh, well over. Great effort by Bahutsky, and he will book his place in that men's discus final. See a wrap-up of the qualification from Group B. 2 athletes achieved that automatic qualification distance of 60 meters. And it will go to the top 12 performers through those 2 groups to compile our finalists. Meanwhile, the men's high jump final is underway here on the top end. Tamori taking his 3rd attempt to keep his chances alive in this competition, looking for the crowd to get behind him. The stadium has been incredibly supportive of the athletes over the past few days, and they continue to do so. Tamori looking for something here to stay in. And he does. Great jump under pressure for Tamori. Thanks the crowd. Really helped elevate that jump for him. You can see planted. Good effort, good technique. Not a lot of room there over the bar, but it stays on, and he stays alive in this men's final. Personal best for the young Japanese athlete. Congratulations to him. Can he go higher? And we just see a summary here of the discus throw qualifiers for the men. Good to see a personal best from the German athlete Heisler to qualify for the final. Belarus, China, Qatar, Jamaica, Czech, Cyprus, Germany, Portugal, so many different nations are going to be represented in that final. And just tidying it up. And the final qualifier will be Claudio Romero with 56.71. Those will be your finalists for the men's discus final. And here is a star of this event, Brayton Poole. First got told age 10 that he just wasn't quite tall enough to be a high jumper, but you know what? He has been defying that ever since. Inspired by the great Stefan Holm, who has been an incredible athlete down through the years in the high jump. Holm, of course, had a personal best of 2 meters 40. Had a few inches on height on Poole, but that has inspired Poole to pursue this event. He gets ready to take his next height. You'll see when Poole jumps, it's a combination of incredible speed, explosive power, and elastic strength through his high jumping. He is a superb technician. Remember, he's been world champion before, under 18 level. He is a man for a big occasion. Look at the speed. Oh, there you go. Knows he is on form today. Just a superb athlete to watch. 10 years old, he started high jump and fell in love with it. See Javon Blake appreciating that. Great effort from Poole. Still with the men's high jump, Higashi. Japanese athlete is at his personal best height. Again, looking for the support from this crowd. Wants every ounce of support to help him get over this bar. Oh, very close. He'll know he has it. Just an inch off. Great drive through his takeoff foot. You know, when they plant the foot, they like to drive straight up, get as much height as possible. He'll take a little confidence from that. Looks like he has the height. It's just about putting the elements together. Serbian athlete, Halili. He skipped 2:16. Oh, very close. Very close. Halili is in new lifetime best territory if he can clear this. One failure at that 2:19. He'll make a couple of adjustments, chat to the coach. And here is perhaps the event favorite, Roberto Vilches, the Mexican athlete, unbeaten in 2018. Can he continue that streak? Going through all of his final mental cues. Oh, no. Had the height, looked like maybe he took off a little bit far out from the bar. First failure in this competition by Vilches. And you know, these failures could end up being relevant if it goes to countback. Here's another French athlete. Can he go clear? Yes, he can. Lifetime best by Ismar. What a time to do it in a World Championship final. Great work. Tamori, Japanese athlete, equaled his personal best at that 2:16 and now wants a whole new personal best. Wants to really compete for a place in the top end of this competition. The crowd getting involved. Oh, and he's done it. Absolutely superb clearance. Had loads of room over the bar. That is the clearance of his life. Slightly brushed it at the end, but a takeoff had quite a lot of clearance. Extraordinary effort by Tamori. Nikitin. Silver at the European Under-20 Championships. What can he do here? At his best, a 2:28 jumper. We haven't seen that from him this season yet. Oh, not far. He'll know it as well. down at the bar towards the end of the jump. Had the height for the first phase of that. Menke, the German athlete. First attempt at 2:19. And he's done it. Lifetime best. These high jumpers are on fire down there. And a smile from Menke, and so it should be. Lifetime best from the German athlete in a world final.
Let's wrap up what was an incredible men's 10,000 meter race walk final. The same time for the athletes who finished in first and second, but victory to Zhang Yao. Hurtado produced an incredible finish. He gets the silver, Ortiz the bronze, Tingeo Australia a national record mark in fourth. And here is the medal ceremony.
The medals will be presented by Johanna Loukanskopi, Deputy Mayor of Tampere.
Palkinnot tulee jakamaan Tampereen kaupungin apulaispormestari Johanna Loukanskopi.
Bronze medalist representing Guatemala.
Maailmanmestaruus bronssi. Guatemala, Jose Ortiz.
Silver medalist representing Ecuador.
Maailmanmestaruus hopea. Ecuador, David Hurtado.
Gold medalist and world under-20 champion representing China.
Maailmanmestari, Kiinan Yao Zhang.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of China.
Hyvät naiset ja herrat, Kiinan kansallislaulu.
Ladies and gentlemen, your world under-20 championship medalists.
Remarkable 10,000 meters race walk. China take gold, Ecuador silver, Guatemala bronze. Personal bests all round. And Yao a double world champion in 2018. Relay action next on the track. The women's 4x400 meters. The Germans the quickest in 2018, the Americans dominant in this event down the years. We've got 3 heats, only the first 2 make it through to the final, and then the 2 fastest times will follow. In this first heat, Jamaica will go in lane 3. Poland have good tradition in relays. They're on lane 7, and they will be led off by Widowska, and into Vostil, Bartnowska and Lazowska. The Brazilians led off by Marlene Santos. She'll hand to Tiffany Silva, Cheyenne Da Silva, and then Leticia Lima is on the home leg. The Hungarians, Molnar, Rapassi, Krozegi and Saramato. Here are the Italians. The men look good in their relays. In the 100, Camilla Pizzalas, Eloisa Choreo, Chiara Girardi and Elisabetta Vandi. Here's the Jamaicans. Danielle Josephs will hand to Stacey Ann Williams, Chrisani May and Kalisha Taylor. They were the winners in 1998 in the 4x4. And China, Lan Chanlu, Zhu Yu, Mo Jiadi and Zhang Yao. So from the inside, China 2, Jamaica 3, Italy 4, Hungary 5, Brazil 6, Poland 7. So away they go. Good early pace made by the Brazilian Marlene Santos out there on the far side, making up a little bit of ground on the pole. The head-on shot has the Italian under pressure at the moment from Janelle Josephs of Jamaica in this opening leg of this 4x400 meters relay.
You can see the stagger is quite wide for the opening leg, can be often deceptive for the athletes, but Josephs from Jamaica going really well on this leg, has made a lot of ground for her team. Dos Santos from Brazil similarly going well, and the Hungarian athlete.
All about watching when the handovers happen now, because of course they do hand over still with the stagger. So first to hand over are Jamaica, and then it looked like Brazil and Italy were up there as well. They'll run in lane, around into that back straight, and then they'll break and all come together. Jamaica now with the baton in the hands of Stacey Ann Williams, the 1998 World Under-20 champions with the Brazilians, with the Jamaicans. They're being chased by the Brazilians, but it's a big Jamaican lead at the moment. Brazil with Tiffany Silva with the baton.
Williams having a very strong run on the second leg for the Jamaican team. But the Brazilian athlete in second has also, she cut well in the break and has put in a super 400 here.
They're willing them on. Eloisa Choreo has run a good second leg for the Italians. Next handover. Kasani May of Jamaica. The Italians have it away. The Chinese, surprisingly, struggling at the back. But out in front, it's the Jamaicans.
Jamaica looking really good here. May looks comfortable. Da Silva in second position for Brazil. The Italians in third. Polish team in fourth. Poland normally very strong at this event. Can they make any in-ground here? Surprising to see the Chinese struggle a little. But Jamaica are doing really, really well here. Good run by May in the third leg.
Sunny May coming into the home straight, still being chased by the Brazilians. Cheyenne Da Silva's not really been able to close any gap though. This will be the last handover, the last 400 meters. The Italians are carving out third place for themselves at the moment, and the Poles are in fourth. Behind them, the Chinese have labored somewhat. We're into the last 400 meters now. The final handover, the Brazilians with Leticia Lima, who's gone off quite fast running around that bend, and she's chasing Kalisha Taylor of Jamaica.
Lima clearly feels she has enough running in her to catch the Jamaican athlete and bring this home for Brazil.
Well, she has run a very fast first 200 metres. Of course, it is the first two in each heat who qualify, and now Kalisha Taylor is going to pull away from her. So the question is, could the Italian Elisabetta Vande catch the Brazilian? So could Leticia Lima pay the price here for going out so fast? It's going to be Jamaica who take it, and here comes Elisabetta Vande for Italy. Two automatic qualifiers. She's timed it perfectly. Jamaica take it, Italy second. The Brazilians will kick themselves for that third place finish. Poland fourth, Hungary 5, China 6, but the last 400 meters showed how you must think about the tactics of a race, think about what gets you through to a final. And the Italians timed it perfectly, but you have to say that the Brazilians didn't.
What a run by Vande. You could see her down the back straight, just being cautious, and you just see the Brazilian here. You know what, that could just be a sign. She's a young athlete, maybe got a little excited, just went out too hard. And Vande had everything in the tank in the last 100 meters, and she just couldn't respond to it. They could pay dearly for that with a place in the final. They're going to be anxiously waiting now to see can they get to one of those fastest qualifier spots. There will be two.
53.60 for the last split for Jamaica, the last 400 meters. They went out in 53.54. They were consistent all the way through. In fact, 53.4. And a world lead mark for this year so far with 3:34.22. But absolutely, I think Lima, it's a moment to remember. The first two were qualified. Still an area record for Brazilians. They're not out of this. Jamaica, Italy, the two automatic qualifiers after the first of the three heats in the women's 4x400 meters relay.
Vande just really had a perfectly timed run for herself and her teammates. The Italians in the stand were going crazy in that last 100 meters, I can tell you, jumping up and down, absolutely delighted with her efforts. Well done to her.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the change of medal ceremony for the men's 200 meters, which was due to be staged at just after 1 o'clock. That medal ceremony will now be at 2:45. That's the men's 200 meters medal ceremony.
You can just see the high jump area. Nikitin, Ukrainian athlete, has had two failures at this. Remember, he is a European under-20 medalist, has had a tough year in 2018. He will need to produce something special here to stay in this competition. Hugely talented Ukrainian athlete. Oh, almost. Really frustrating for him. The youngster's just had a tough year this year. When the World 2005 Championships were staged in Finland, a Ukrainian athlete surprised them all and won this title. Unfortunately, Nikitin won't be surprising this field today, and just tough scenes there for the Ukrainian. Karmoy, the Belgian athlete, what can he do? Third and final attempt at 2:19 for the young Belgium. Oh, and he does it! Yes, look what that means to him. Outstanding. You are still in the hunt. What a jump at a perfect time for Karmoy. Season's best for the young Belgium.
On the track, it's the second heat of the women's 4x400 meters relay. Ukraine on the outside. Mariana Shostak, Olena Rajuk, Tatiana Kaisen and Tatiana Beshiko, their quartet. The Sri Lankans have Bandara, Kumarasinghe, Atadia and De Silva. The Indians will feature world champion Hima Das on the last leg. They're led off by Suba, Matthew and Ratika are the other three. Fourth in the 400-meter final, Ella Connolly leads off Australia. She'll hand to Cara Jardine, then it's Jemima Russell and Carly Thomas on the anchor leg. Canada, Zaria Santiago, Aurora Rinda, Sherelle Samuel, and 400-meter finalist Ashlan Best on the last leg. There's Ayano Shiomi on the opening leg for Japan, Shuri Aono, Moeka Sekimoto, who ran the hurdles, and Ayaka Kawata on the anchor leg for Japan. So lanes 2 through to 7 take on this. So it's Japan in 2, Canada 3, Australia 4, India 5, Sri Lanka 6, and Ukraine 7. This is the second heat of the women's 4x400 meters relay.
Set.
Off they go, sun beating down on the track. It's a very warm morning. First lap, of course, is run in lane. The Australians have gone off very quickly indeed. Ella Connolly showing well down that back straight.
And what a championship the Australians have been having. Extraordinary performances. They prepared really well for this. Ella Connolly has had the championship of her life, and she's having another great run here. You see the long staggers. They'll slowly unfold as the race goes on.
Santiago of Canada, I think, reasonably well placed as well. The stagger continues beyond the first changeover. The Ukrainians have Shostak, but it's the Australians who lead this at the moment. Canada are up there. They'll hand over in lane. It'll definitely be the Australians to hand over first. Canada second, and on the inside, Japan third. India are trailing at the back, and the Ukrainians very, very slow with their second handover. So this is Australia taking it off into the back straight. Canada and Japan up there as well. 3, remember, at the front, but first 2 automatically qualify, and Cara Jardine has the baton for Australia as now they come together, although they are still disparate across the track.
Cara Jardine has had a good run so far for this Australian team, is at least holding this lead. She's very much protecting the lead that Ella Connolly gave, and you can see the Japanese athlete in third moving up.
And it's going to be very interesting to see whether Hima Das of India is going to have a retrievable situation on the last leg for the Indians as the Australians hand over. Jemima Russell has the baton now. Canada second, Japan third, and there was a mix-up there as the Indians finally handed over between Matthew and Ratika. So India have a lot to do, but Hima Das, of course, to come on the last leg. The first 2 qualify. The Australians going well, but Canada with Sherelle Samuel now making a move down that back straight on leg 3.
Jemima Russell being caught slightly by Canadian athlete Sherelle Samuel in second. Samuel having a great run for Canada.
So the Canadians putting pressure on the Australians. The first 2 will be the automatic qualifiers. We're approaching the home straight, and then Hima Das there in the centre of the picture among those waiting to get the baton. It'll be Australia and Canada to hand over first. Japan are in third, and India are in fourth. Hima Das urging on Ratika. The world champion will then get the baton and will be off and away. Kawata has the baton for Japan, and Australia and Canada continue to vie for the lead.
And Canada making a decisive move over Australia. Ashlyn Best looking very good on the back straight. And look at Hima Das on the right-hand side of your screen. She took the baton about 30 meters down. What can she do? Can she run down any of this distance that's been put into her team? And look at Japan coming up in third. This Japanese team is good. Ayaka Kawata.
Ashlyn Best takes him into the home straight. And Australia bounce back. Australia with Carly Thomas. Best is hanging on. Here come the Japanese pushing to third. Australia will take it. Canada second. Japan third. And Hima Das will come through. A quick run to get fourth for India. There's Ukraine coming in fifth. And Sri Lanka bring them home in sixth position. So Australia, 52 seconds on the first split. They slowed down a little and then found some pace. 53.82 seconds for the final 400 meters from Carly Thomas. And they are the first of the two automatic qualifiers. They'll be joined in the final by Canada. And the others, including Japan and Hima Das' India, will have to wait and see.
Unfortunately, no heroics for Hima Das. Didn't make huge inroads into it, to be honest. Kawata, the Japanese athlete, had a really good run in fourth. This Japanese team has had a good season so far. They would be hoping for a place in this final. What a great run by the Canadian team and the Australians, who have just been really impressive. Australian Carly Thomas showed great strength there to come back after being passed in the straight. She was able to wrestle the lead back from Ashlyn Best. Look at that smile.
Hima Das' efforts will be in vain. The Indians will not make the fastest non-automatic qualifiers. The result of the second of the three 4x400 meter women's relays. Australia 3:35.48, season's best mark for them to take victory. Canada in second. Japan 3:36.70. We'll have to wait and see if it's enough.
And back to the men's high jump final. Brayton Poole, first attempt 2:21. What has he got? Look out for that speed and explosive power. Yes, over he goes, taking his claim at this title. He is just incredible to watch. That short run up, real explosive power and speed through it, using that elastic strength. Season's best for Brayton Poole. What a great time to do it. Vilches, 2:21, just one failure on his card. That was the first attempt at 2:19. Can he go clear here? Unbeaten in 2018. Oh, yes, he can. This is really becoming something, this men's high jump competition. Vilches was ninth 2 years ago in Bydgoszcz, currently lying on second. Greek athlete had a season's best at 2:19. What can he do at 2:21? Remember, his lifetime best is 2:20. This would be for a lifetime best for Merlos to make a stake at this title. And he does it! What a time to make your move on it. Absolutely superb from the Greek athlete. Great height off takeoff. Fantastic. Just nudge that bar, but it stays on. That's all he needs. Javon Blake, American athlete, LSU student. First attempt at 2:21. Yes. And he knows it. All these clearances are really, really important at this stage of the competition. Javon Blake will be thrilled with that. Javon Blake's mom actually ran track at Alabama University, so what a sporty family he comes from. I'm sure she's very excited watching this.
The Crimson Tide, Alabama.
There you go.
On the track, the third and final heat, the women's 4x400 meter relay. It features the 10-time champions, the United States. South Africa are on the outside. Kellerman, Wilhelm, Gibbon, and the new world champion over the 400 meter hurdles, Zeni van der Walt. The Ethiopians will go in lane 7. Fikra handing to Welteji, then Tesfaye and Wondi. The Germans are the quickest to record a mark this year. Hoffman, Hartmann, Behrens, Kaufmann. And here's Simone Mason for the United States. They've won the last 8 World Under-20 Championship 4x4 relays. And the women, Mason, Anderson, Ford and Minor. Big cheer for the Finns. Mattia, Bass, Lasfolk and Lekkonen. Dominican Republic, Duran, Reyes, Matos, Cofield. And the Slovakians with Zaplatalova, standout performer at this event. She'll hand to Simlovichova, on to Zapatochna and Sidorikova. Now then, is there a little bit of pressure on the US? They had some problems in the 4x1. Current fastest qualifiers, Japan and Brazil, 3:36.70. Slowest qualifying mark at the moment. They watch very, very carefully then, as they go into the blocks with Slovakia, Dominican Republic, Finland, United States, Germany, Ethiopia, and South Africa. It is only the first 2, of course, who will qualify. Third and final heat.
Set.
Thousands of voices go silent, and then the gun goes, and off they go. The United States look to have made a pretty pacey start. Simone Mason is on their opening leg. The Germans have been good this year. Anna-Maria Hoffmann is on their lead leg. And you can see the US and German vests flying down the back straight.
Simone Mason has made a great start here. The South African team on the outside are holding their own with Lisa Kellerman. Of course, they will have the expertise of Van der Walt to come in 4th, the 400 hurdles champion.
So it's Mason of the United States who's run a fast first 400. We'll get an idea when the first handover happens of just how good it is. But I think the Americans and the Germans will be well placed when they hand the baton over. It is America who lead. Dominica going actually quite well on the inside. Oh, the Finnish runner fell as she handed over. And the South Africans off on the outside with Wilhelm with a little bit potentially to do, but as they come off that stagger now, it is the USA with Shea Anderson in possession of the baton and a healthy lead. And it's Hartmann of Germany who's in second place. And just looking to see where the South Africans are. Well back down the field.
The American team, you can see, are doing well here, but the Germans are not that far behind. And the US has a point to prove at this championship. South African team way off the pace.
Well, they've got a mammoth effort ahead of them if they're to get back into this. It's the United States who hand over first, and it's Germany second, Dominican Republic third, Finland fourth, Ethiopia fifth. And Ethiopia, Welteji, the 800 meter champion, just ran that second leg. Tesfai's now got it for Ethiopia. The Germans with Johanna Behrens chasing down Jantijaya Ford of the United States down that back straight.
Ford has a colossal lead over the field at this point, but look at the athlete from the Dominican Republic. Maria Fernandez Matos is really going well in third. Looks like she's taking a little bit of that lead from the German athlete and cutting into it. Remember, top 2 to qualify.
First 2 splits, 52 seconds flat for the Americans, then 52.76. It's the US in first. Dominican Republic, Matos has run a really good leg. Final handover now. Dominican Republic and Germany vying for second place, and that's the automatic position. And the Finns now hand over with Lekkonen, who will try and chase down that pairing in second and third. The Americans well away, though, down the back straight. The United States with Minor. And then look at this battle between the German Kaufmann and Kofil of the Dominican Republic.
Kofil has gone up the inside of the German athlete. That is perhaps a lack of experience by the German athlete, but she's taken advantage of it. Kofil, what a run from the Dominican athlete to put her team into the second qualifying position if she can hold on to it in this final straight. It is going to be a tussle.
Ariana Minor is going to bring the United States into victory by a long way, but the Dominican Republic will get second, Germany third, and the Finns are trying to hang on fourth, but the Ethiopians pit them on the line. The United States take victory. 3:33.12. It's the fastest 4x400 meter relay of the year. And the US quartet, Mason, Anderson, Ford and Minor, negotiate their 1,600 meters of running and come through to qualify for the final. Dominican Republic, a national record, 3:36.22. The Germans, 3:36.50. And Ethiopia, 3:39.29. So the Germans have made it through to the final, despite the fact they were edged out by the exploits of the Dominican Republic on that last lap. Minor, though, a big win for the US. Very comfortable for them. You can see just at the back of the picture, the Finns were trying to get fourth place, but Ethiopia with one day produced a strong finish. And Lekkonen couldn't hang on for Finland. They were relegated to 5th position in front of the home fans. Slovakia ran a national record as well. There's the result of the third heat in the first round of the women's 4x400 meters relay. The United States with the world lead time for 2018, getting the first automatic qualification ahead of the Dominican Republic. The Germans, though, have booked a place in the final on time. And there they are, Hoffman, Hartmann, Behrens and Kaufmann. And the smiles suggesting they know the news. Well, it's a hot day here. First round summary then shows you there that the Germans and the Brazilians make it through. Two teams joining the other automatic qualifiers. Should be a good final. The US, Jamaica, Australia, Italy, Canada, Dominican Republic, all in there lining up for the relay final on the final day. Great high jump competition is continuing. And the bar is at 2:23. And here is Poole, the world under-18 champion, who has looked brilliant. He's currently in first place.
cool to go clear 2:23, keep his clean slate the whole way through this competition. Oh, first failure of the evening for him. He does have a lifetime best of 2:25, so he'll know this is within his capabilities. Season's best at 2:21.4 pool. Vilches, Mexican athlete. Can he continue his unbeaten streak in 2018? Has good experience from being at this competition 2 years ago, but will want to get on the podium. And we'll be really looking at the top of that podium. Wants the support of the crowd. They're right behind him. There you go. He is not putting a step wrong in this competition. Roberto Vilches, superb clearance.
Now the men's 4x400 meter relay. Like the women, the first two in each heat will go through automatically, then the next two will go through. This is the lineup for the first heat. It includes the Belgians. Mazebo, Vanderberg, another Borlée to add to the list. Ryan and Jonathan Sakor, the new world champion on the anchor leg. The Japanese, Shuji Mori, Daichi Sawa, Hayata Goto, and Yusuke Shirao. The Ethiopians, Yusayum Asefa, Bayu, Abdo. Great Britain led off by Alex Haydock-Wilson. Joseph Breyer will take the baton for the second 400. Then it's Ellis Greatrex and Alex Nibbs. The Jamaicans, Malik Smith, Deshaun Morris, Anthony Carpenter and Shamar Chambers. The Czech Republic, Ondrej Holub, Vladislav Sadirov, Ladislav Topfer and Thomas Nemedic. And Poland, Jacek Majewski, Sebastian Jakubowski, Adam Rocek and Simon Kreft. So they'll settle in their blocks now for the 4x400 meters relay. Poland, Czech Republic, Jamaica, Britain, Ethiopia, Japan and Belgium. Away they go. Belgium run blind out of the outside in lane 8. The Japanese look to have gone off pretty well with Suji Mori. And Great Britain have Alex Haydock-Wilson on this opening leg in the centre of the picture. Outside him, the Ethiopians, and on the inside of him, the Jamaicans moving well.
Jamaicans look to have gone well on this first leg. Coming round, Smith coming round strong off that bend, but the Japanese have made the strongest start to this relay out there in 6th lane. So the Great Britain team as well, going well.
Japan and Britain hand over almost at the same moment there, so it's those two and the Jamaicans in 3rd as we go into the 2nd leg. It'll be Joseph Breyer for Great Britain. Japan with Daichi Sawa now in possession of the baton. Breyer and Sawa come off the stagger. Britain lead, Japan 2nd. Jamaica are 3rd with Deshaun Morris moving those long legs around that back straight and into the crown of the bend.
Morris is coming like a train for Jamaica. He's made inroads into that lead that the British team have. Will he bring it home in the home straight? Yeah, Morris has had an extraordinary run here.
Poland are 4th, a late run being made by the Belgians. Vandenberg has pulled them back into this as Britain hand over first alongside Jamaica. In fact, the Jamaicans now have the advantage. Japan are in 3rd. First 2 automatic qualifiers. Goto against Goitreks, against Carpenter. Those are the names. And the Jamaicans have now opened up a lead over Great Britain. Carpenter, Anthony Carpenter of Jamaica, with Britain and Japan vying for 2nd place. And further back, it's a battle between Poland and Belgium, with Ethiopia and the Czechs trailing.
Goto is working hard here for Japan to pass the British athlete, Goitreks, but he won't get past him on this leg. So still Jamaica and Great Britain.
They're poised now for the final handover. This is where there can be a lot of jostling. The Jamaicans take it first. Nibs has it for Great Britain in 2nd. A big run ahead of him now because Yasuki Shiral's behind him. Only the first 2 automatically qualify. Worth mentioning as well that Ryan Borley, another of the Borley brothers, has handed over to the new world champion Jonathan Sakor, and we know what he can do. And watch him on the right of the screen. He's already ghosting his way down the back straight, but it is Great Britain challenging Jamaica at the moment. Shamar Chambers for them. Alex Nibs has run really well because he's knocked the Japanese out of it, and Nibs for Great Britain and Chambers of Jamaica are going to be the 2 who will bring their teams back. What a run from Nibs. Great Britain will get there. Jamaica 2nd, and Sakor is going to bring Belgium into 3rd. Watch the clock for them, because that's what matters. The 2 automatic qualifiers are Britain and Jamaica. Belgium with 3rd, as Sakor produced another fine run to come past the Japanese. But there's the automatic qualifiers and the winners of the first heat. The British quartet ahead of Jamaica.
Great run by Alex Nibs in 4th for the British team. Super effort on the last leg to guarantee them their spot in the final. There you see Sakor. He had an outstanding leg. I'd like to see a split on that because he came from way back to pass out the Japanese team, and you can see the effort it was. Still quite hot out there on the track. Rear is pumped. And there's a familiar name in 400-meter running, Borley. Shiro, the Japanese athlete, struggling a little bit with the pace. And would you look at Sakor coming, the world under-20 champion. Nibs very strong in the last 50 meters. And look at Sakor the whole way through. Japan didn't stand a chance against him. Look at Sakor on the left of your screen, staying relaxed, just pumping those arms and trying to give Belgium every chance of being in a fastest qualifier spot.
There's the results of the first of the men's 4x400 meter relay heats. Great Britain take it in 3:07.17. It's the fastest time this year so far. Jamaica, the 2nd automatic qualifier. And then it is Belgium who will wait to see whether 3:09.39 is enough to get them into the final.
And in the men's high jump final, Antonios Merlos, the Greek athlete, is in the form of his life, wants to hear the crowd. Can they help him get over this bar? Yes, they can. Would you look at that? He cannot believe it. That is an incredible performance by the Greek athlete. What a clearance. He's having the time of his life out there. Absolutely huge clearance by him. .223 personal best. Javon Blake showing his appreciation. How will Poole respond to this? Remember, Brayton Poole has had a failure at this height. He needs this. Composing himself, thinking of all the different elements of his jump, the speed, the power. Yes, responds like a champion. That is why he is the world under-18 champion. Performances like that. It's just incredible to watch Brayton Poole. Ooh. Nicely curving around the bar and just pushing over it as he went, but it stayed on. He's safe. Javon Blake, LSU student. How can he react to this? Personal best territory here for Blake. And he's over. Yes. Done for Blake. Superb jumping. The jump of his life at a world final. Not the tidiest in run-up, doesn't matter. Got him over the bar. Outstanding. What a jump.
On the track now, it's the second of the three heats in the men's 4x400 meters relay. Strong South African quartet will go in lane 4. Watch out for Italy in lane 5. Turkey, led off by Ozirek, Korkmaz, Kanaki and Kasap. There are other members of the team. The Indians, Ramesh, Kumar, Tibin Kumar and Dabas. The Italians have Jetja, Romani, Benati and Scotti. South Africa. Nalezela Sanona is on the opening leg. Then he'll hand to Tembo Monoreng, the sprinter. Lauren Steenekamp and Gabriel Love, who've also been in individual action this week. Complete their lineup, the Germans with Ringel, Brett Schneider, Lepelsack and Bredeau. And the Australians will be on the inside. Adam Kopp leads them off. Christian Davis, Harvey Morant, and then the decathlon champion, Ashley Maloney. Hopefully recovered from the rigours of his competition on Tuesday and Wednesday.
On your marks.
Sanona takes his time. Now heads down to his blocks, as does the German Ringel. It's Australia in 2, Germany 3, South Africa 4, Italy 5, India 6, Turkey 7. Second heat. Men's 4x400 meter relay.
Set.
Off they go to automatically qualify, remember. The Australians with Adam Kopp on the inside in lane 1. Gone off well, and Sanona, the South African, has got some strong fellow countrymen to hand that baton to as well. Decent run, it looks like, being made by the Italians as well, with Jetja going out on their opening leg.
The Italians have been in good form at this championships, and they've certainly made a dent in this first leg of the men's 4x4 Heat 2. Has really run down the stagger on the Turkish athlete right on the outside. So it will hand over with the Italians in the lead, closely followed by the Australians and the German team and the Turkish.
Real problems at the back, though. South Africa have fallen way off the back. Sonona just absolutely lost it completely, and they are going to struggle to get back into this from where they are. They're way back now. But the Turks are looking good. The Italians as well down that back straight. Romani ahead of Turkey's Korkmaz. South Africans have had bad relays this morning. Australia in third now with Christian Davis in possession of the baton, and Ringel, who'd handed to Brett Schneider. And here's the next handover.
Great run by Davis. He's going to hand it over in second. Very strong by him, and the Australians go into second. The Germans and the Turkish are having a tussle for the third position. The Turkish athlete has come through.
It's Benatti of Italy taking them down that back straight. The Australian second, Harvey Morant, has the baton. Lepelstack of Germany moving up in third place, and the Turks in fourth with Kanaki. And they'll come round towards this home straight with the blue of Italy, and Benatti's going to be handing over to Edoardo Scotti, who is a fast finisher in the last 200 metres, and the Italians will have a lead to take into the last leg.
Benatti looked strong there, and the Australians handing over to Ashley Maloney, their world decathlon champion. And what can he do in this 4x400 metre race?
Ashley Maloney is right up on the shoulder of Scotti, but we know from experience this week that Scotti's a fast finisher. He's felt him on, he's pushed him there. And the Italian, Scotti, pushing Maloney as he went past him. That's going to be something to keep an eye on as we look at what's happening behind, because the Germans are coming up, and now Scotti's coming past Maloney, who's starting to puff a bit. Maloney may have gone out too fast, and we know Scotti's got the legs when it comes to 400. He looks over his shoulder and says goodbye to the rest. Because Scotti for Italy being chased by Maloney, but the Germans are up there as well. Germany and Australia vying for the automatic position, and it's a photo finish between those two. Italy take it. The second automatic qualifier, though, will be between Germany and Australia. But of course, there was also that incident on the back straight in which Scotti and Maloney are now hugging and making up for what happens.
Scotti did not like how close I think he felt Maloney went past him on that back straight. He was coming around the outside and perhaps bumped him just a little bit. Scotti not impressed, telling him during the race, I believe. But look, we seem to have made up now. Good run by the Italians.
Scotti came back, 3:08.35 for the Italians, but just that little clash on that back straight with Maloney. Here it is coming up now. Maloney comes past him. It's Scotti responds, and then there's that little shove with the right hand from Scotti. And then Scotti responded in the last 100. What a great run from the German as well, Bordeaux, to come back into it for them. Now watching as we get to the line, this is so tight. Maloney's staggering, and the German stays on his feet a bit more. And it's been given to Australia. 3:08.53. Ahead of Germany in third. But Italy, the race winners.
And down at the men's high jump final. And what a final this has turned into. The Greek athlete is having the competition of his life. Can he keep this momentum going? No, just didn't quite have it for that one, but he'll go back and go again. Has already been over a lifetime best height in this competition. And just brushed it on the way up. One more attempt at 2:25. for the Greek athlete. Javon Blake, the LSU athlete. What can he do at this height? Has also had a personal best at 2:23, so Blake as well is having the competition of his lifetime down there. Can the crowd elevate him over this? Everyone behind him in this stadium. Oh, not quite. Great support from the crowd here for Blake. This is the highest Blake has ever gone in his life. Can he keep going higher? He will have one more attempt at 2:25. Drayton Poole. Last attempt at 2:25 for Poole. Currently lying in third. The world under-18 champion. Oh, no, not meant to be today. What a great competition he has had. Take that bow, Drayton Poole, you deserve it. Absolutely fantastic jumping. Roberto Vilches in the lead. Nobody has been over this height. Oh, he doesn't do it. But Vilches. Vilches is still leading on countback. Will he be able to hang on to this title on countback? What has the Greek athlete got to say about that? Merlos. This title is within his grasp. Can he steal it away? The louder the better for Merlos. No, didn't look convincing. What an amazing competition for this high jumper from Greece. Came here, jumped out of his skin for a new lifetime best. And on countback, is it Merlos? We'll wait for confirmation of that. Javon Blake. This competition is not wrapped yet. Javon Blake. What a moment for him. Oh, no.
Third and final round of the men's 4x400 meter relay. It includes the United States of America, who have been imperious in World Under-20 Championship relays down the years. Take a look at the lineup then. The Swiss will be on the outside in this one in lane 7.
Lane 7, Switzerland. Lane 6, Canada.
The Canadians in lane 6.
Lane 5, Sri Lanka.
Here come the Sri Lankans, led off by Kodikara in 5. United States in lane 4, led off by Matthew Bowling. France with Fabricio Saidi on the lead leg. And Zimbabwe, Dixon Kapandura, lane 2, to start them off. They run the first lap in lane and come off the stagger on the back of the second bend in lap 2. For the first bend in lap 2. So we have Zimbabwe in 2, that's the French in 3, the US in 4, Sri Lanka in 5, Canada in 6, and Switzerland in 7. This is the third and last of the heats. 3:09.87 for Turkey. A full start there. I think that could well have been the Zimbabweans on the inside. 3:09.87 from Turkey is the current slowest non-automatic qualifier. But Kapandura, just watch on the right of the picture here, he seemed to get into the set position very late and then go straight on.
Almost like he didn't hear the set. So maybe that's just, maybe the starter saw it and has flagged it and called them back, which is a really fair thing for him to do.
Yeah, a green card, I think that is in the sunshine being held up. It is. So they'll try and go again now at the second time of asking. Just readjusting the blocks there, the French. That's Saidi.
Saidi just tripped over his block there, getting down into the starting position, and started to call them back up to give him a chance to fix it. You know, a lot of these athletes would be quite nervous, and there's kind of a little bit of a fumble, but he's readjusted them, he's fixed those blocks, and they'll look to get started. Third time lucky here.
So here we go for heat 3, men's 4x400 meters relay. It's Zimbabwe in 2, France in 3, United States in 4, Matthew Bowling there, Sri Lanka 5, Canada 6, Switzerland 7.
Set.
It's a clean start this time. Zimbabwe's Kapandura has gone off pretty quickly as well. Bowling of the US looking to maintain their dominance in this event. They've won 14 of the 16 relays at 4x400 meters men
Kappendura
in
has
these World Under 20 Championships.
Kappendura has gone off well on the inside. Now you see French athlete is coming back at him a little bit in the outside lanes. Canada, Switzerland having a good run on the outside, and in the middle lane Sri Lanka look to be leading at this point.
Great first
USA
leg. Kodikara. Let's watch the first handover. Sri Lanka, the US, and then a slightly poor handover by the French between Saidi and Andon. So the US now starting to pull away, but the Zimbabweans going well. Also on the inside there, the French, the Swiss, the Canadians with some work to do further back down the field. But it's Nicholas Ramey of the United States who has the lead.
Ramey just taking a second to fix the bat and make sure he's comfortable with it. But that lead is being closed down by the Zimbabwean athlete, the French athlete, and Don to look strong.
So the US lead as we go to the next handover. The French are second, the Zimbabweans tiring. The United States take the baton. Justin Robinson has it. The French with Antoine Leblanc. Now trying to chase him down as they head off down that back straight. The Zimbabweans have put the foot down again. And the Sri Lankans are going really well.
The Sri Lankans and Zimbabwe were just having a tussle there, and the Zimbabwe athlete is absolutely flying down the back straight, trying to overtake the French athlete, but has gotten stuck coming around the bend. You see the Americans still holding quite a good lead coming into the straight.
First two in each heat qualify automatically. There's going to be a real tussle between the French, the Zimbabweans, and the Sri Lankans as we go into the last handover. The Americans get the baton into the hands of Your Majesty Williams, and France are in second, and they're being chased by the Sri Lankans over there. And the Sri Lankans now go into second place. This is quite a performance from Darshana, who we saw in the individual race. And the Zimbabweans are coming back as well. And also up there are the Swiss, but the Americans have a mammoth lead.
Absolutely mammoth lead by the Americans, but look at the race behind them.
Mbaye for France, Darshana for Sri Lanka. It's those two at the moment going for an automatic place. The Americans are going to take the victory. Your Majesty Williams. France are holding on. They're holding off the Sri Lankans. It will be France to get second, and Mbaye is just there in front of the Sri Lankan Darshana. 3:05.58 is the winning time. The US will hope to break the drought of golds that they've had here at these World Under-20 Championships. They've been so dominant down the years, and the US take victory in that third and final heat. And ahead of the French in second, and Sri Lanka a close third in 3:08.88, and that will get them through to the final on time.
Great run by the American team, very dominant. World Under-20 lead time. But you can see the French working really hard for that qualification spot coming into the final straight. And the French team were just too strong for the Sri Lankans. And just by a small margin, they have secured their place in the world final. Mbaye had a great run down that home straight. 50 meters to go. He was just working so hard. And Darshana just cannot hold him off from Sri Lanka. Great run by the Sri Lankan athletes, but just not quite enough.
Confirmation of the result there. The United States take the third and final heat in the 4x400 meters relay. France second, the Sri Lankans third. The Swiss came through as the Zimbabweans faded. Conversation going on there in the high jump final.
The Greek athlete has won the competition on countback. What an amazing, amazing breakout competition for this athlete. Look at the emotion of it. He has been absolutely incredible. The emotion from Vilches. Vilches 9th here 2 years ago. This is the first time he's been beaten this season. Oh, it's a joint. First, they couldn't separate them on countback. Apologies. And joint bronze.
Well, that's an extraordinary result, isn't it? So it's a joint gold. Merlos and Vilches.
Wow.
223 with joint bronze.
223.
Blake and Poole on 223. So you would have to go right back through all their jumps and see who did what. Poole only failed once and then 3 times at 225. They all failed at 225 3 times. So 223, the winning mark.
And just a host of personal bests the whole way down that page, which is incredible to see in terms of depth. Wow, that is amazing. Those 4 athletes really were outstanding. So they'll be sharing places on the podium. What an extraordinary result. So joint world champion for Vilches, Merlos. Joint bronze for Poole and Blake. What a sight. They really have been supreme, these jumpers.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights of our morning session here in Tampere. It was a morning for the race walkers. Mexico's Gonzalez, winner at the team championships, winner at the World Under-20s. Qualifying marks achieved in the discus for the men's race walk produced an incredible finale. Hurtado surge, not enough. China take gold. And the high jump, remarkable. 2.23 meters. They all went over among the leaders. And they couldn't be separated. 2 gold medalists. Let's confirm who's made it through to the final of the men's 4